Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Brandon. How are you?
Great, and you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
How about you and your city?
it was challenging, but good. Learning curve, learning curves.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Are you new to the group?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome.
Hello. Hi,
Hey,
Carol.
Luke.
Hi,
Hey,
Brandon.
Karen. How are you?
Hello.
Good. It's so great to see you. Oh, yay. How are you doing?
Great, thanks. How are you?
Good. Your hair looks amazing, as usual.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you look amazing as well.
Oh, thank you.
How was your weekend?
Amazing weekend. We had a really great weekend. Busy. It's been busy, but we've been in this workshop for the last few days, and it's been really great to just get back to the basics and reorganize our thoughts. It's been actually, I have no complaints whatsoever.
Wonderful. I have a complaint though.
Uh-oh.
I need help. Is the topic for today's optimizing your service delivery process?
So you
Ooh.
are in the book launch. You're in the virtual
Yeah,
book launch. Yes,
yeah.
this is our topic for today. Blah, blah.
Oh,
I'm not sure if you
okay.
know that. So a lot of our regular clients are in here today because usually on Mondays we have a foundations workshop. And I've rolled the workshop over into the foundations meeting because I can't do two meetings at once. So
Right.
it's foundational stuff too. What is your complaint, my friend?
Well, my staff, I've been having a lot of issue with her, and I think I need to say goodbye.
All right. So after the workshop, or maybe it'll come up during the workshop or after the workshop, we can troubleshoot that. Does that sound good to you?
I have an interview after after this workshop, so
Okay.
it's
Okay.
back to back. I have a few back to back appointments this evening, so maybe tomorrow I'll just have to make an executive decision.
Yeah. You know what? Let's just very, very quickly. Is there any reason that you shouldn't let her go?
Because I don't have other trained people to take over her role.
Okay.
So
Um,
I'm just gonna have to roll my sleeves up and do the training myself to the new people that interviewing. I will have to pick
okay. Very,
the,
very
right,
favorite candidate and take them with you.
right. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. From what I know of this lady you're talking about, probably any of the A-list candidates that you have coming your way would probably be able to fill her shoes fairly quickly.
yeah. The core values are being shot at this point when it comes to her
Mhm.
behavior. So
Yeah. She's a C employee. She needs to be replaced by an A candidate.
right. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So let's
Oh,
jump into
sorry,
the.
and just so you know, I have to go pay for a client's thing because she broke something and didn't follow the
Didn't
protocol.
tell
So
you.
yes,
Oh,
so
that's
now,
so disheartening.
yeah,
So disheartening. That's a bottleneck for sure and an inefficiency for you. Yeah.
yeah.
There's nothing in the world worse than an employee. Well, I'm sure there's something worse, but it's so disheartening when you have an employee that breaks something and doesn't admit it or stand up for it, or that's
Even
it's the
though we
worst feeling
opened,
in the world.
even though the door was open to say, this happened, so and so, and they know there's no consequence towards, accidents happening. It's just that we need that transparency and to know what to do. But
Right.
mm-mm,
Didn't happen.
yeah,
Darn it.
yeah,
Well, you know what to do now.
yeah. Sadly,
All right. So, just a little recap of yesterday. First of all, hello, everybody. You know me now. You know who I am and you know what I do. That's amazing. And who you just met is Carol, one of our longest standing clients in the Freedom Program. In fact, Carol, were you the first person to join the Freedom Program?
I don't know.
I'm
I
going to
hope
have to look
not.
into that.
I
I'm gonna look
hope
into that.
not.
You might have been.
Really?
I'm going to look
Okay.
into it, Carol.
Okay.
But Carol and I have become friends, and we were out in Montreal a few months ago and got to spend the day. She took us around Montreal and treated us like royalty.
Oh, so she's the one that's been in your pictures.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Her hair is
Wow.
different today.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah, thanks for being here, Carol. Now, what I want to know is, hey, Brandon, did you get your core values into the program, did you do your video?
Yes, I did, but I called it a mission statement.
That's fine. It doesn't matter to me what you called it, as long as you got a chance to do it.
Yes, I did.
Well, I have to admit, today hasn't been the Mondayest Monday ever, but it's been pretty Monday today. So I had a chance to get to Facebook yet today. So I'll go and look for that after. And I see Josh is here, so that's amazing. Josh, did you get a chance to put your core values on the Facebook group?
No, I have not yet.
You're a busy guy. I heard you run a school bus.
Yeah.
How do you?
Yep,
How do you run it?
Quite a busy guy.
Yeah. No. And what else do you do? There's something else to do during the day.
I'm also a special educational. Yeah.
You're a teacher?
I'm a educational assistant.
Oh, okay. I actually I started following that course for educational assistant. And then I realized my girls were starting to become young teenagers. So they were 11 and 12, not teenagers yet. And they were already a handful. So I knew if I was giving away my attention to these other children, I might not have the patience for my own. So I rerouted my life and did dementia care instead. But I commend you. What a job. Do that and then go drive a school bus.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Amazing. And how about you, Charlotte? Were you able to get your core values on the Facebook page last night or today?
I don't think I did it on the Facebook page. I think I did it on I just wrote it in the work, in the book.
The discussion. Yeah. Oh, right on. I'll go and check that after. Like I said, it was a bit of a Monday today. So after the workshop today, I'll go and take a look. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm so glad to hear that you guys are thinking about this and putting it into some serious context. So thank you. So today, when I was preparing the chapter for today, I realized, wow, this is a lot. So I'm going to dive into it. Love from me to our regular clients here. I'm not bothering you about your core values because I know where you're at with that. So remember, please unmute yourself and let me know if you have any questions along the way. If I'm going too fast, let me know. If you want to interrupt, do. This is a discussion, although fast-paced. So today we chose chapter 6, optimizing your service delivery processes. This was requested by a few different people, and it really actually is a really nice, follow-up or tying the bow on the gift, because it's really touches on the reasons why the things that we've learned about in core values and client acquisition, it pulls it all together and kind of, I guess we're at Christmas already in my mind, puts it into a neat little package with a pretty little bow. So let's get into it and see what the slides tell me to talk about. Let me move this out of my way. Optimization. There's an importance to optimization. I don't know if it's going to show up in here, but in the book, I talk about every time I talk about bottlenecks, I talk about wine. So you're going to hear me talking about wine, even though I don't drink, because I'm trying to add some sort of excitement to a very dreary topic. So identifying bottlenecks and efficiencies is crucial for your growth. And honestly, there will come a bottleneck at every level of your growth. You think if only this could happen, this would be so amazing. Or if I were to get this client, it would be so amazing. And you get this large client, you've got the team in position, everything's going great. Now, all of a sudden you feel stunted because you're so busy organizing the client and the procedures and the employees that all of a sudden nothing else can happen. So now your list starts to build up of the things that need to happen, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're wondering if you're ever going to get to it. That's what a bottleneck is. Big abundance with this sudden bottleneck. Think of the wine. Think about the long neck wine, or the song Long Neck Bottle. Okay, it's Monday. What happens when you hit a bottleneck? It's just like hitting a traffic jam. Think about, we've got all these cars going down the highway. Carol knows about this. And all of a sudden you've got the traffic coming from both ends and everything just slows right down. And it's just such a waste. It's a waste of time, resources. So really, today we're going to discuss how a smoother workflow increases profitability. So you're going to need to analyze your workflow first you're going to map out each step from client request to job completion. So map out each step from client request to job completion. We're talking now about creating job forms, procedural documents, whatever you want to, however you want to define it. You will want to start out by just the basics. What happens in the start? For a client acquisition, it's going to be what happens when the client calls, who answers the phone, and what do they say? And then if they want to consult, what is the next step? Where do we book it, and who do we let know, and what do we prepare? And then once the consult's done, what do we do? So you've got to start thinking at the start and move through it. So when you're visualizing creating systems for cleaning, it's going to be the same thing. You'll notice, any of you in the program that have access to my job forms, I think many people are like, this is unnecessary. You don't have to do this. In the beginning, they're like, this is too much, Carrie. But really, they'll say, start with when you get out of the car, open the trunk, pull out the supplies, ask your new employee to carry supplies. And then it'll say why you ask them. Why you ask them is to make them feel important and give them something to take their mind off of the stress of the first day. So when you're talking about setting up cleaning processes and avoiding bottlenecks, you don't start with how to clean a toilet. You start with what are the supplies? Why are they useful? What are they used for? Where are you going to use them? Who's going to teach you? All of those things. And then, of course, you always want to definitely have a functioning follow-up procedure. So one of our clients today, or on Friday, did a test clean at a potential client. And they're actually honestly trying to steal the job from another cleaning company. They offered them a test clean because they're afraid to get rid of their company and hire another company and be disappointed. So they said this morning, what do we do? I said, well, of course, you're going to follow up. You're going to send them a message. How did it go? Were there any concerns? What would you have liked to have seen done better? What was the thing that you loved about it? And how was the timing? Asking them strategic questions to get the answers to do better, but not only that, to make them feel wanted, loved, and secure. Always be making note of your delays and complications. Even in the moment when things are like crazy and frantic, find somewhere where you're keeping track of your delays and complications so that once you've gotten through the fire, you can create new systems or improve your systems so that it doesn't happen again. And when I had a cleaning business, I had a vacation rental, primarily vacation rental in the summer and commercial in the winter. And commercial ran all year round. But in the summer, holy smokes, like we went from $40,000 a month in revenue to $120,000 a month in revenue for the months of May, June, July, and August. That's $80,000. That's twice what we were already making in extra revenue, which means that things happened. Things went crazy. We'd have this crazy 4 months where we're like just putting out fires, just making it happen. And then we just kept a list all through the summer of the problems that we had. And then we spent the whole winter creating new systems for the next year, so that when we started again in the spring, we were better than we were last year. And it got to the point where customers at the end of the year, the end of the first year, some customers left. Some customers were like, well, we'll have to try somebody and let you know. And other customers loved us. By the end of the sixth year, no customers ever left at the end of the season. Most customers carried their deposit forward because they wanted to grandfather their rate back to the next season. And more customers came every year. So it was beautiful. Perfect. I should do it again. Identifying issues. I didn't even get a dirty look from my husband. He's not paying attention. Identifying issues. Always make sure that you're watching for what went wrong. There's always something. There's always something, right? No matter how good it is, there's something that could be improved upon. Watch for delays due to communication issues. Communication is the number one reason that things go wrong in any situation. First, look at your communication. redundancy from data entry across systems. So in other words, saying the same thing in multiple places. I do have to admit, this is a problem that we're trying to correct in our online program right now, in our Freedom program. We're using too many different sources to keep track of one issue. And so we're bringing in a new business manager to help me figure out how we're going to fix that so that we don't have to be asking the same question 5 times from 5 different people to one person. Right, Carol? Carol knows about this. Quality issues from inadequate training or unclear standards. You know, as soon as you can, have a training program that works to help improve your quality, and always be improving your training program. You don't build a training program and then call it done. Ever. There's no business that does that. You're always improving your training program as much as you can over time. Pick one area each month to look at. Imagine if each month you took one area of your training systems, your policies and procedures, or your client acquisition system, and you said, okay, this month I'm going to focus on fixing this issue or this problem. Sorry, I'm saying this wrong. This situation, because there's maybe not an issue or a problem, but everything can be improved. So you'll grab that and you'll what's the word? Really is Monday. Maybe I should have had 2 coffees today. You'll grab the system that you want to deal with and you'll analyze it, and you'll start writing down all the problems, identify the problems. And then the next step will be to ask yourself, why? Why did this problem happen? I'm going to get ahead of myself. I'm trying to stick with this. See, I'm trying to stick with the slides today and it doesn't work for me. This is why we're just going to have to go back to the regular solution where I already did it. I did it. I'm telling Nolan, I'm looking at him because he's the one that notices these things. Let's prioritize based on the impact. In other words, what needs to be done now? What's going to increase our efficiency so we're not losing time? Let's talk about what's costing us money. And then let's talk about customer satisfaction. Now, you may be saying to yourself, but customers always come first. Absolute, complete, and total malarkey. Customers don't come first in the sense that you think. Sometimes you have to put your systems and processes and your employees before your customers in order to make them satisfied. If I say customer is always right or the customer comes first mentality, when I hire a new employee and this customer wants their place clean, I'm like, this employee is not trained. I haven't even done their background check. I don't even know who they are, but I'm just going to hire them and send them because the customer needs to know somebody showed up at their door. To me, that is backwards. You're gambling with your business, right? So if you start at the top, if you're checking on your costs and you're checking on your systems and processes, checking on your employees, the customer will be satisfied and the customer will think they are first. And to tell you the truth, taking care of all those things is putting the customer first, because the customer relies on you to have a reputable, professional, reliable business, right? Does that make sense, or did I totally mess that all up? I don't want to confuse anybody with my I spent a lot of time reverse engineering. It makes sense, Brandon? Yeah.
Yes.
Whole lot of sense.
I do a lot of reverse engineering. So sometimes when I start to get all befuddled here, it's because my brain is thinking backwards to what I want to say to you. If you can learn to be an amazing reverse engineer, honestly, this is when you stop having problems. If you can see the problem in the future and come backwards, like let's do a quick reverse engineer from my point of view. So come spring, the business is going to explode again. Of course, I will have lost all my employees between now and then, or let's say 2/3 of my employees will be gone because they can't wait for the hours to come back. But I'm going to make sure that my best employees are sticking around. I'm going to find them work. Okay. So now when I think about that, when we get to March, now we're not going to have enough employees. So what am I going to do? Well, first, I'm going to do everything I can to keep those 3 employees in the next 6 months. I'm going to make sure that I have a really great training system so that when I have to hire like 30 employees, they can all go through my training program. What I'm going to do is, if I want to have that training program built, I know that I need to fix, 6 out of 10 modules. We really need to go through that. Now, let me think. Now it is November, December, January, February, March. March. I have 5 months and I have 10 modules. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one module every 2 weeks. Now, what I need to know is what's the most important module. It's probably onboarding, because if I'm going to be onboarding 30 people, I really need them to all understand exactly what needs to be done. So for the first 2 weeks is going to be onboarding. And that's how you do it. That's reverse engineering. I've figured out a problem over there, and I've reverse engineered the problems all the way back until I get to today, and I have a solution. I'm constantly doing that with everything. I'll do that. Well, if you're a woman, you probably do that all the time. I think we were just born with this ability to do it. But I was taught by a man how to do reverse engineering, or I was taught by a man what reverse engineering is. So what do you think, Nolan? Does reverse engineering come naturally to you?
No, I feel like reverse engineering comes naturally to different people at different times in their life. And I guess natural is a funny word, isn't it? Because it's your experiences in life that gets you, sorry, I'm going to eject this guy. It's your experiences in life that get you to realize what you need to reverse engineer, right? And so in a business context, if you have a goal and you know where that goal is and you're super clear, like I want to get here, you can kind of back into it where you know what the goal is, then you figure out what needs to happen in order to make that goal, and then you figure out the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, and then you can kind of reverse engineer and solve for that gap, right? This doesn't come naturally to people, right? When you were a kid, you might have reverse engineered something simple like how to get to a certain math problem or something, but I believe it's taught to all of us. But to a certain extent, we all have that kind of problem solving aspect of our brain. Anyway, you can reverse engineer how hard you have to throw a baseball by how far away your target is. So, you know, different levels for different people. But yeah, I think most of it is a learned skill, but we all have this instinct to reverse engineer.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I think I agree with you. I do have to say that I really wholeheartedly believe that so much of what we do, so much of our instincts and so much of our characters is set down through the generational DNA, and that you have that instinct. So fear. This is a thing that I talk about. I haven't talked about it in a long time, but I used to talk about it all the time. So I'm going to talk about it now. Okay. The fear mechanism in us as an evolved species, and considering the huge revolution, the Industrial Revolution, and now the AI revolution, the fear mechanism in us is confused, essentially, because that fear mechanism is actually put there, or actually evolved when the cavemen would be going out of their cave in the morning to do their business or whatever else they do when they leave the cave in the morning, to remind them that there might be like a hungry tiger outside of the cave, to make them stop and be careful and cautious and look for the tiger, to make them think that they should pick up their weapon before they go out. That's where the fear mechanism started. And over the years, people have, we've evolved to either ignore our fear or acknowledge it to the extent that we forget why it's there. Fear is there as a guidepost. It's not there the emotion of fear is not tangible. I don't know how else to say it. It's not holding you back. It's not a door. It's not a door. It's a little mechanism in your brain that says, hey, you should be afraid because I want you to be prepared. Or maybe it's, hey, you should be prepared. But we're turning it around to say, hey, you should be afraid. And what are we taught as children? If you're afraid of something, stop. If you're afraid of something, don't do it, And sometimes for good reason, when your mother grabs your arm and whips you back when you're about to run into traffic. I mean, that's a good reason to turn away from fear. But truthfully, when it comes to business and when it comes to forward momentum thinking decisions, fear is the wrong emotion to allow you to hold back. If you're afraid of something, if you're afraid to spend money, use logic. If you're afraid to make an investment, use logic. So go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, you're right. If you're afraid to do something, but listening to you all the time kind of takes you away from that afraidness. That's why I'm here on this.
I'm glad.
Because it's so much stuff out there, how to do this, how to do that, and a lot of people get confused. I know I
Yeah,
did.
thank you. You actually you made the point for me. I really appreciate it. That's exactly it. Most of the time, fear is confusion in disguise, and a confused mind will never go forward. So I actually see fear as a reason to go forward. I actually think if I'm afraid to do something, that's because the consequence is going to be huge. But don't forget the consequences are not always negative. There are positive consequences to the things that you fear. You know, we are the guy. I always think about the guy that these guys are crazy. These guys that you see their TikToks and they're standing on top of a mountain and they got this suit on that they're using for wings and they jump. Sometimes they just let themselves fall. And then they put out their wings and they just glide over, you know, for who knows how long. You never get to see where they land. But I assume because they're doing these TikToks that they land all right and they're back doing it again. But think about it. I don't know if they have the mechanism. They must have the fear mechanism, but they still jump. Like it doesn't equate for me that they wouldn't have that last moment of fear. Of course, they've probably done it so many times that they just ignore it. It just doesn't exist. But here's the thing: there are two consequences to jumping off that cliff. You could hit the bottom, or you could fly, and they choose to fly. It's so obvious, and that's what I do when I have fear. Oh, guys, just think. If you knew me 10 years ago, the things that I'm doing right now are really outside of my comfort zone. And I feel the fear all the time. But here's the thing. I know the consequences. Yeah, I could fall flat on my face. I could embarrass myself in front of 20,000 people. Or I could give a speech that will have people understand who I am, where I come from, and what I want. And to me, that would be the thing. To be understood is the thing, right? If I fall flat on my face and 20,000 people, you know, have whatever negative emotion I could possibly put towards it, I still accomplished my goal because my goal is to get in front of 20,000 people. That's it. What happens when I get there doesn't really matter because my goal is to get there, right? And when you're making decisions about investments, this is so big. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because this changed my life. I took a Grant Cardone course and I was watching him talk. And at this point in time, this is where my perception of who he is changed because up until this very moment, I thought he was snake in the grass. I was like, this guy is just so full of ego. He's just like, this is ridiculous. I bet he doesn't even have $1 million. He's probably just full of it, right? Meanwhile, there's 500 people or 5,000 people or 50,000 people at this event. He's Russell Brunson's best friend. Anyway, here it is. He said, I had a credit card. I had just paid off my credit card. And I wanted to franchise my cleaning business. I really, really wanted to go into franchising. That's why we're all sitting here. That's another story. They wanted a $10,000 down payment. And I was terrified of that down payment. Terrified. But I really wanted it. And I was like, I got this credit card, but I shouldn't spend the money. I should hold on to the money because I might need it someday, or somebody might have an emergency, or, you know, what if my business fails? I still want to have this little plastic piece that will get me through for a few months. Then Grant Cardone said, whenever you're considering whether or not you should use credit, get a loan, or have an investment, you should not consider like the things that we consider. We consider, well, gee, it's going to be 15%. It's going to be 15% on this card, or for some people, 30% on this card. For me, back then, 29.9%. It's going to cost me this much to pay the credit off. So it's really going to cost me that much in the end. And that's just not worth it. What is it going to make you? Of course, you should pay 30% interest if you're going to increase your revenues by $120,000 a year. If you're going to take out a loan for $10,000 and you're going to pay 10% interest, let's say 30% interest, and don't forget that you only pay interest if you let it go to 30 days. this is your goal, or this is like, if you're somebody who needs to have like this extreme goal, here's your extreme goal. If you decide to borrow $10,000 for something to take your business forward, make it your goal to pay off that $10,000 before you hit 30 days, and just think how much your business is going to grow. So anyway, it doesn't matter. You get to the 30 days, you pay the 30% interest, and your business has grown by $5,000 a month. 5 times 12 is $60,000. $60,000 you made from a $10,000 investment. That's it. Like, you have to stop thinking about what it's going to cost me now and start thinking about how it's going to improve your future. So when he said this, and then he said something like, never, ever, ever again, put something on your credit card that does not pay you back. TVs, coffee, dinner, those things, by the way, you can put on your credit card if you're looking for the points, trips, if you're looking for the points, but you must be able to pay it off. That's why they say that you should, if you go out, you put groceries on your credit card, then you go home, you go in immediately and pay them off. Because you shouldn't be paying interest on consumables, anything that won't move you forward. Now, if you need a new laptop to run your business, and that laptop is going to make you more professional, it's going to cause you to move forward, of course, put it on your credit card. Don't wait. Don't wait. Like, don't wait to be professional. Don't wait to grow your business, right? Waiting costs you so much more than just waiting. If you're going to be increasing your monthly revenue by 10,000 in order to get 120,000 more a year, and you wait for 3 months, you've cost yourself $30,000. But compound that $30,000, 3 months over 10 years that you waited, $300,000. That's how people think that are successful. So when you're coming up against fear, think about, how will this improve my future? What if I don't hit the ground? What if I do fly? Because what I know is that we're all going to die someday. So that's not my excuse for not doing something. Well, I am definitely going to make sure that I have one of those suits on or a parachute on before I jump, for sure. But so there's my thing about the beauty of reverse engineering. You can also think about it in these ways when you're trying to make these decisions. Should I buy that machine? How many times I actually had somebody today, I said to them, I have a great opportunity for you. I have 2 retail outlets and they need somebody right now. Let's go. Let's do it. Come on. I've just got this hot tip. Let's do it. She said, but I don't have a floor scrubbing machine. I said, we don't even know you need one yet. Why are we having this conversation? All I need you to do is go to the consult. And by the way, you could probably get a floor scrubbing machine on payments once you tell them, hey, I got this opportunity. It's going to make me $10,000 a month. I haven't got the money for a floor scrubbing machine yet, but would you give me payments? Or how about I'll rent the floor scrubbing machine? The job is 2 days a week. If you have to go through the motions of renting it, and Carol's done it, Carol's giving us a look because she's done this. Carol doesn't only have to rent a floor machine, but she has to rent a truck to move it in. And she does it. She did it for this big client once, restaurant, I think. Can't remember. Do you still do it, Carol? No? But when Carol told me about that, I was actually so impressed with her. I was like, do whatever you have to do to get there. Do what you have to do to get there. Some days it's not going to pay off immediately. So let me finish by telling you, you don't have to be a genius to understand that I never opened a franchise. And if you know anything about me, it was from going through that experience that I realized how much I despise franchises. I am not in the business of keeping business owners down. I'm not in the business of taking their money and creating a situation where they have to, struggle every month so that I can get rich. That's not my business. So I stopped with the franchise. But what happened? I had made all these SOPs. I had learned how to replicate my business to make other people able to follow the same program. I learned how to make my systems so easy to follow that anybody could. And now I sell them in my CEO growth programs. I've helped hundreds of cleaning business owners move forward. And I've helped a few of those become millionaires. And I've helped many increase their revenues by 10,000 a month. Right. And there are some There are some who I don't even know. There was a realtor in my program. Within 6 weeks in my program, she increased her business to 30K a month in 6 weeks using my vacation rental stuff. And I messaged her like 3 months ago. I said, hey, I was just thinking about you. How are you doing? Did you get any value out of my program? Because I didn't hear from her again. She's like, Carrie, my life is made. I don't even clean. I don't do anything. I'm busy on vacation. Sorry, I haven't been in touch. I promise that when I settle down, I'll get in touch with you. I love you. Everything's great. I'm like, oh, good. Well, I'm happy to hear you're happy. So anyway, that came from that $10,000 investment. I'm sitting here in Mexico on a workshop with you because of that $10,000 investment. And guess what? I never followed through. I never, ever ended up with a franchise. I never ended up there. So don't forget that your opportunities are coming to send you in a direction that you actually have no idea. But if you don't go forward, you can't. Boy, I did it again. Let me tell you guys, before I move on, I'm going to give you one more story because it's so relevant to where some of you might be right now in this moment. I have been talking to you guys about the fact that this all started as a train your vacation rental employee. And then it went off track. It became CEO growth programs. It started out, it was the master plan. It was the foundations. It's the freedom. And then it's the exit plan. But if you've been listening in the last 2 days, I haven't given up on my dream about the vacation rental employees, train my vacation rental employees. And so what I did, before I started my program, I was in the hot tub with my husband and his daughter. And I said, just imagine this program, $47. And all I have to do is have 1 million people in there and it'll be a $47 million program. Like, how amazing is that? It's taken me 5 years to get 100 people in my program. Right? Like, come on. I didn't know what I was doing, but this dream keeps coming back to me, right? I keep thinking about this. Just imagine. Well, I decided to put it into motion. I was like, Kate, I've got a dream. When I went to Tony Robbins, I was like, I can do this. I can do it. I know I can. And what I want to do is have my vacation rental cleaning program accredited so it can be certified so that Airbnb, VRBO, Turno people will have cleaners that are certified will be first picked to work with Airbnb, VRBO, and all of that. So for those cleaners who are having so much trouble getting in the door, that's going to give you a leg up. And I hope to have that program available for a very reasonable fee. And because I hope to sell it to masses. So what do I need to do? I need to get to the director of Airbnb. Give me a thumbs up if I told you this story already in this workshop. Okay.
Carrie, I do want you to explain it though, because I'm curious about how it works on your end. Like how much you would have to pay Vrbo and Airbnb to have this accreditation.
I'm curious too. I need to talk to those people. I'm not sure. What I want to do is work with them in tandem. I honestly, I'm hoping that they'll invest in me, in my business, and to help me do this. The accreditation, just to apply for accreditation is $18,000 US, just to apply for it. And then it's a 2-year process to get there. So I've got a lot of work to do. But guess what happened today? I got in a room with somebody who is going to introduce me to the director of Airbnb. That happened to me today.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that happened to me today. Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
No one else is unmuting. I was going to say Brandon is over here. Like, yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
That's
I
huge.
hope to be the 4th or 5th one in line behind you.
Yeah, well, I'll take anybody. Like anybody in my program goes with me. Everybody that's in my program knows that. So
Congrats. Keep going.
thank you. So all of that from a little crazy conversation in a hot tub 5 years ago, a woman who had no idea what she was getting herself into. And to this day, I'm not there yet. I still have so much work to do. But somebody said, yes, I know that guy and I can introduce you. So that's what I mean. That dream would have halted if I hadn't spent the $10,000 on the franchise. That dream would be halted. And here it is. It's going to be the thing, you guys, for my ultimate goal. This is the thing that's going to put me there. So I just want you guys to start thinking about that. Instead of telling yourself no, tell yourself, how can I make this happen? And take it in bite-sized pieces. You don't have to do it all in one day, but you have to make big decisions. Like the bigger the decision, the faster you should make it. The bigger the decision, the faster you should make it. Because all of those tiny little decisions are not what's holding your business back. It's the big decisions that are holding your business back. And I promise you, I am practicing what I preach. I've been making some pretty huge decisions for my business lately. Okay. And it's going. Okay. I'll stop now. I want it there. I hope you're inspired because I'm re-inspired myself. I'm so proud of myself.
Hey, I am proud of you too. And just keep on talking. Whatever you talk about, I mean, you know, we want to hear.
Thank you, Brandon. I don't hear that all the time.
That's true.
I
Sometimes
was gonna say, be careful, Brandon. Be careful what you wish for.
Those are my people.
I'm all ears. I'm just here to listen and learn.
They're all kidding too. They like to hear me too. I know they do.
You guys only get 2 hours of it.
All right. Let's move forward with some learning. I hope that that was inspiring. I just wanted to really show you what can happen. And don't forget that 4.5 years ago, I was homeless. All right. So continuous improvement. Here we go. I just talked about this. If you're defining the things that are holding you back and taking massive action in small bites, thank you, Christine. Then you will have continuous improvement, and it will be more than you ever dreamed is possible. Your dreams are so close, you guys. You are so close to your dreams. It's unbelievable. It's not out of reach. So make sure that you involve your team. So these sorts of things that happen, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever is going on, be open with your team about it. Let them know when you're struggling, because you will struggle. The idea that having a business, being a business CEO, corporate boss, whatever you want to call it, online, they're going to sensationalize it. They're going to say that you're doing well, like, up and coming. I'm not going to go on a podcast if they say that I'm a struggling cleaning business owner who wants to show you how to make things work. They're going to have to say that I'm up and coming and I've got it all together and I'll never fail. And I won't ever fail. I don't believe in failing. And it's not that I don't fail. Every failure is an opportunity to succeed. So I don't believe in using failing as an excuse. That's what I meant to say. Keep your team engaged and let them know you're not perfect, but you're doing your best. And when things are going perfect, let them know things are going perfect and reward them. It's really important to have your team invested in the success of your business. So optimization is not a one-time task. It's an ongoing process. You hear it all the time. Let's talk about SEO optimization. When you sign up for SEO optimization with any company, they're going to say to you that this is you're in this for the long game. If you want to get into, first of all, if they're telling you that you can get into the #1 spot on Google and you're not paying like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month, they are lying to you. You cannot get there. You are in an industry where you've got big leaders that will pay for that #1 spot. You might get there for a day or two, but you're not getting there for $500 a month, okay? But SEO optimization is something that is over the long run because it's constantly changing. Google standards are constantly changing. AI is constantly changing. This changes faster than any of us can even imagine. And so you have to be constantly updating it. So optimization is something that's constantly getting better. And therefore, if you're standing still, you're going to be lost. You're going to be left behind. Be responsive to new technologies and challenges. Always be ready for new technology and challenges and be willing to accept it or look into it. But please, being responsive and buying every little thing that comes your way are two different things. Be educated. Say, AI is a thing, it's in my life. I want to check this out. Remember what I told you all yesterday. If you can find a free AI website or workshop, do it. Invest your time. Don't go out spending a bunch of money on AI when you don't have any clue what it's about. And don't start giving away your money to anybody who makes a promise to you. Be careful. There are people who want to kiss you on the first date. They are not your people. Okay? Give it some time, get to know them. Right now, there's so many AI experts, right? And none of them are really experts, right? I shouldn't say none. That's so overstating it because some of them really are experts, but you're not meeting them. They're not in this room. You've got to get yourself to networking events if you want to meet AI experts. Social media. There are some people who know something about AI. Everybody knows something about AI. If you've used ChatGPT, you know something about AI. But the experts are not hanging out and selling it to you for $97 a month. Do you see what I mean? Like, just be careful. And I'm not an AI expert, but I want to learn enough to be able to give good advice about it, right? So go to the free workshops, learn enough so that you know what you should be doing, so you know how to make the decisions. Have it be a commitment to improving. Just be a commitment, have a commitment, be committed, be a commitment. I am a commitment, really, honestly. Okay. Conclusion, you can commit me to the insane asylum some days like today, where my mind seems to be just going doo, doo, doo. I do not have ADHD. I've been tested. I don't have it. It seems like I do, though. Conclusion. This is a conclusion to the first section, so don't get all excited. We're not even close to done. Identifying and addressing inefficiencies will boost your operational efficiency, enhances team morale and customer satisfaction, and it builds a solid foundation for continued growth. So look for the problems and fix them. Implementing standardized SOPs. SOPs changed my life, and they can change yours too. Okay. There's structured step-by-step guides on how to do things. You really want to make it consistent. So basically, when it says aim for consistency, quality, and efficiency, of course, that's as well in your everyday operations or your cleaning technicians' everyday operations, but make your SOPs all the same as well. Because if they all have the same structure and setup, then everybody can very quickly figure out how to read them. But if you have like 5 different types of SOPs, then your team, when they look at the SOP of the day, they have no idea how to read it. They have to decide how to read it, and then they got to tell each other how to read it, and then they got to, complain that there's a change, and then they've got to go against the change. I mean, there's all these things that go on for your cleaners that are going to infuriate you. So keep them all the same for all time. Keep it simple. Don't worry. It doesn't have to be fancy. It shouldn't be fancy. You don't want to distract them from their true purpose. I don't like pictures on SOPs. If you have pictures on your SOPs, you're just creating distraction. Videos, if you're doing SOPs online, you can do videos, but keep all the videos the same so they know what to expect. Not the same content, but the same layout. The same with your cleaning procedures. Create a general cleaning procedure and then add to it for your specific clients. And you'll reduce errors once you have these procedures all organized and ready to go. Your SOPs will ensure that your services are delivered consistently every time. And as you grow, this is so important. The biggest mistake that I see cleaning business owners make, and many cleaning business owners are making when they get to me, is that they're allowing their employees, here's one example, they're allowing their employees to bring extra, their own cleaning supplies. So they provide them with a kit, and then the employees say, oh, well, I'm just going to add a magic eraser. And another employee says, oh, I'm just going to add this pink stuff to my kit. Oh, I prefer Barkeeper's Friend rather than the liquid cleanser. The next thing you know, everybody's got different supplies. You're bringing in new employees. You're telling them they have to follow your procedures, but nobody is, And so they are confused. And then when they need to find out how you use Magic Eraser, they can't go to your SOPs to learn how to use Magic Eraser because it doesn't exist, because it's not supposed to be there. Make it consistent and try to make it as simple as possible. If you can find one all-purpose cleaner that can do windows, floors, countertops, polishing, and put it all in one container and use it for 5 different jobs, you should do that if you can. You want uniformity in the service that you're delivering. It's not only about keeping track of supplies and making sure that your employees are always doing the right job. It's about looking organized to your clients. All of our cleaners had a black bag. And then I went as far as say, this goes in this pocket, this goes in this pocket, this, and this. That way you can look at it and you can scan it. If there's a missing pocket, you know what's missing. Like my cleaners were required to keep their supplies in a specific order. Everybody did it except my husband. I could never train him to do that. Never. I couldn't do it. If you know me, you know my husband hates my procedures. So you really want that uniformity. It looks nice when they're walking in the client's door. It makes everybody feel like they're on track, and it actually adds to the efficiency. When you're developing your SOPs, you're going to want to list all the cleaning services and tasks. You're going to want to detail how each task should be performed. So let's see, what does it say? Client bookings, client specific. List all cleaning service tasks, client bookings. So you could say, we have 5 banks. So for these 5 banks, now what do we do at each bank? Then you can take the things that are generally at all banks and you can make that your bank cleaning procedure. And then you can add to it for the different banks. Like if all banks, in all banks, you take out the garbage first. But in the bank on the north side, you have to sit it by the back door and let it wait so that you don't go out in the dark to the dumpster or something. Those types of things are added later to the procedure for the job. Make sure that you're listing the tools required, so that there's 2 reasons for listing tools and supplies required. Number 1 is so that they're prepared before they get there. Number 2 is because if they have any confusion, that will add to it adds to the hints for what you should do. Should I, like if they're thinking, should I wash the floor? Oh, well, it has on my supply list that I have floor cleaner. That's a big hint that I should wash the floor. Right. Things go together. And always give your objective. The objective is to, so for any job that's 5 days a week, we have 1 day where the objective is to clean everything, deep clean everything. And then each day of the 4 days, they have to monitor 1 extra thing. So it's a deep clean on Monday, and then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's a quick clean. But on Tuesday, they're going to focus on windowsills, and on Wednesday, they're going to focus on light fixtures, and Thursday, they're going to focus on baseboards. Friday, they're going to focus on garbage cans, cleaning the outside of the garbage cans. So each day, the expected outcome is a little different. The objective on Monday is to make sure everything's clean. The objective on Tuesday is to make sure that the windowsills are clean. Do you see? Of course, we're there to clean the whole place, but make sure you have the objectives. Ask your team how they're feeling about your SOPs, and if they think they work, always ask them for feedback. If there's something that they should add or take off of the SOPs, we call them job forms because in Jobber, we use Jobber calls them job forms. And we'll actually say in the job form, the very last line on every job form says, please let us know if there's anything that should be added or deleted from this job form. Assign your team members to follow the SOPs. So when you first have a new job, you're going to start with the scope of work and create a procedural job form to the best of your ability. Then you're going to ask your team to follow that job form and to let you know if there were any areas of concern or how you could improve the job form. And then you're going to message your client and ask them if anything went wrong. And if whatever solutions you find, you're going to put them on the job form. And this way, you're going to be creating a system for that place according to the people who know what's going on there. So feedback is so important. How can you possibly serve something? Can you imagine if you go to a restaurant, you sit down and say, bring me a hamburger, they're going to ask you, do you want bacon and lettuce on that? No, I don't eat pork. Okay, great. Then you don't want ham either, right? Like, get the feedback. Make it easy on your waitress. Training your team. Organize training sessions for all team members. We talked about this yesterday. Use a training portal if you can. Have some sort of formal training that they do on their own that you don't have to pay for, but reward them for taking the training by offering perks, benefits, and bonuses. Walk through your SOPs. So go to the job with your procedural document and walk through and envision yourself doing it. I wonder if that's what it means, because that's what way I'm reading it. Implement regular refresher training to maintain standards. This is where actually how I do this in my business, because like I told you, getting everybody into a room for 8 hours and paying them for that, and then hoping that everybody will listen or pay attention, it doesn't work. What I like to do is in that Facebook group that I talked about, if you have a Facebook group for your employees, then you will go into the Facebook group. If you notice that everybody's suddenly forgetting to clean the garbage cans, you could put in the Facebook group, hey, here's a cleaning for garbage cans. We've noticed that it's being missed. Everybody like it or comment done once you've read it, and your name will go in the go in the grand prize draw or something, right? Always give a reward for everything that you expect your employees to do, but not pay them for it. How do you implement it into your company culture? I've been talking about this a lot. So we talked about the digital platform. Always include your employees on everything that you are doing, especially if you're trying to improve on your systems. Ask for their advice. Even if you don't use their advice, they feel cared for, right? And if your employees feel cared for, they're going to care for you. It's going to boost your morale and productivity. What is wrong with me today? Monitoring, reviewing SOPs. It's so mundane. We all hate it. Don't do it if you don't want to improve. But do it anyway. That's the correct answer. You have to do it. You have to go through your SOPs. But the best way to go through your SOPs, so you don't have to sit there. Some companies will sit there once a year and read through every SOP. Like, honestly, how effective do you think that is? If you're me and you, like, I love SOPs, but I hate reading them, then I'm not going to get through two before I'm thinking about the price of rice in China. You know, it's not important to me, reading these SOPs. So what I like to do is when I need to correct an SOP or when there's a problem, I go straight to the SOP and I read it to see if the problem is addressed there. If it isn't, I fix the SOP and I read it again. And then I put the date that I fixed it. And now I don't have to look at it or worry about it again for a year. And I promise you that if you're growing at the rate that I would like you to grow, it's going to come back before a year. You're going to have to improve again before the year's up. But don't worry, you'll be able to afford to pay somebody to do that.
That's a great point you just made, Carrie. I love it. Whenever I'm making SOPs for anything, you got to put like a date where you last updated it. So many times I'll go back onto like a job form or some other SOP that I've created, and I'm like, oh, when did I do this? Like, just trying to rack my brain. And yeah, it's so important to just put that little date down.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, this just came to my head. Think about a nuclear power plant disruption where like everything goes wrong. When they go to their SOP, are they going to want to be like, oh, gee, I wonder if this SOP was made before or after the big explosion, right? You want to know when it was made. Impact of well-crafted SOPs is that you're going to have smoother operations and a higher customer satisfaction. That's all there is to it. There is no doubt about it. If your SOPs suck or if you have none, then you do not have the smoothest operation in town. Fewer errors in the delivery, so your employees know exactly what they need to do. They have a reference and they can get to it. Don't have SOPs that are hidden in the back room that nobody can ever find. I like them to be digital. I like them to be online. I like my employees to be able to get them on their phone. Easier training and integration of new staff is essential for scaling. So SOPs just make everything easier. Ongoing process of improvement. Implementing SOPs is dynamic and requires ongoing commitment, as we've been saying. Just find a way. If you don't love the SOPs, love the outcome, you know? If you don't love the SOB, love the outcome. Develop, implement, and continually improve SOPs for sustained success. You could use the SOB for this one too. Imagine that. Develop, implement, and continually improve the SOB for sustained success. That sounds good if you're in a bad marriage. Try that. I don't know. I'm trying to see if you're awake, honestly. Bad jokes are my thing. Support, it will support your business in its growth. I've said that so many times. It's pretty redundant. Let's have some more final thoughts on this. The goal is systematic quality and efficiency, and it's not just about getting paperwork. That's the thing. When we're building our business, we think we're so important because we're doing all this paperwork. If you're doing paperwork that doesn't grow your business, it is not important. Don't do things just to make work for yourself, because I promise you're going to have lots of work. Do things that will make work for others. That's how you grow a business. Do things that will make work for others. I want to make my cleaners work. I want to make my admin staff work. I better create an SOP. Set the foundation for future expansion and success. I mean, once you have your first set of SOPs, first of all, you're never going to be fully finished, right? Just accept that right now. You're never going to be done making SOPs. There was a time in the peak of when my business went from 140,000 to 640,000. Can you just think about the chaos that might have caused? Can you just think about the jump from 30,000 to 200,000, the chaos it causes? That's when you usually just have you and maybe one or two employees. Then we went from 140,000 to 640. We went from 6 employees to 15 in 4 months. And we had 4 people working 8 hours a day on SOPs, just trying to get everything organized so that we could go for future growth. And what happened? We went from 640 to 1 million in the next 9 months. So, and that was because we had all the SOPs going, and then it just happened. You guys, I didn't even know. I came into work one day. My daughter, who was my receptionist, sat out front in our office, and I had to walk past her and go into my little back room office that had no windows or anything, and I shared it. My office was shared with the supply locker. All of our supplies were held back there. It's so funny because every time I walked into that office, I felt such pride, but I actually had the worst office of anybody in my organization. I was walking past her to go to my office. I was in this great mood. I was excited to get to work. And she said, "Hey, do you know what happened today?" And I said, "No, what?" She goes, "You really don't know?" I said, "No, what happened?" She said, "You aren't watching the bank apparently." And I was like, "Oh no, what happened?" She said, "We hit $1 million today in annual revenues." I was like, "Oh, neat. How did that happen?" Because the SOPs just made it all happen. It was a good day. That's when I stopped. It's like, what? Let's go for 2. $1 million was so easy. Let's go for 2. Leveraging technology for streamlined operations. Don't forget about this. This is so important. Technology simplifies everything. It's essential to your business and it's necessary for your business. This is the summary. And the repetitive tasks. Make sure that you are identifying repetitive tasks. Scheduling cleanings, managing inventory, tracking employee hours, and handling invoices and payments. This has to be done constantly, and you need to have really great SOPs for it so that anybody can do it at any time without you having to intervene. It's really important when you're making your SOPs to think about the least likely to succeed employee and make it so that they could come in one day and just do it. If you have to think about your 6-year-old child, some of you have 6-year-old children who would be better on the first day than some of your skilled cleaners, honestly. Think about your 6-year-old child and make the SOP for them.
Well, what about if your 6-year-old child's already told you that they plan on taking over the business when you're gone?
Just get it in writing.
That's what mine's told me.
Just get it in writing. My heart broke the day I found out my children didn't want to take over my cleaning business. It broke my heart. They don't want to. It's because when you think about it, this is our passion. The reason that we got into this business is because we're passionate about it. And our children are not passionate about the things we're doing because they want to do something different than their parents. There are some children who embrace it and come into the business. I've seen mother-daughter and father-sons. I've seen them have amazing businesses and love it and have fun, but it doesn't happen to all of us, right? It's so if your children are saying one day I want to take over the business and I'm going to run it so much better than you tell them, sit down and write that out. I want your signature, I want the date, and you've just got to deal with the devil. Do it. But seriously, I hope that someday one of the children in our family will be thankful when we leave this business for them. I honestly think, though, I just want to be honest, that we're going to leave the business to our employees. I don't think we're going to leave it to our kids. I think we're going to leave it to our staff. So anyway, benefits of automation. Reduces the likelihood of human error for sure. Frees up staff time for revenue generating activities, making phone calls, anything that your automations can't do. This is the big conversation yesterday with email automations. You could pay somebody to make 100 calls a day, or you can have the email send it out for you and never think about it again. Think about how you can make your money work for you using automations and then add to it. If you want to send out 100 emails a day and have 100 calls going a day, do that. I'll tell you this, cold calling is a beast. And if you're going to be spending money on that, have something else. Like, don't think cold calling is the only way. It's effective sometimes if somebody answers the phone. Emails are effective if somebody looks at the email. Social media is effective if somebody's looking at social media. Networking is effective if you go. Networking is not effective if you don't go. Automated scheduling, reminders, and notifications improve efficiency. I love automated reminders. I love not having to follow up on quotes and remind people to pay their invoice. Choosing the right technology is so important. There are so many different available technologies. Money is not always the only factor, and sometimes you have to not make money a factor. Find out what's working and use it. Ask experts and trust them. So many people ask me for my expert opinion on what CRM they should use, and I tell them why. For me, it is Jobber. There are other programs. There are free programs, and I told you all yesterday that if you're not ready for a paid program, you should go use a free program just to get a feel for it and understand what they offer. Jobber is the most well-rounded for its money. All of the CRMs that you're using right now or that are being utilized right now in the industry are about the same amount of money. Some are a little more expensive, some a little less expensive, but they're kind of in an average range. So, excuse me, when you get to that point, then how do you choose? The one that does the most for you. These systems aren't human. You don't have to worry about their emotions. They're not going to be, their feelings aren't going to be hurt if you say you do more work than anybody, so I'm going to use you, right? Like, don't put any emotion into the CRM you're picking. I had a client recently do this. Their CRM, in my opinion, sucked. I was like, I can't even believe that this person even thinks that this is actually working. Like, their business is falling apart. And the reason is because of the CRM they're using. And more than anything, because they don't understand the CRM, it's too hard for them to use. And now they're forgetting appointments, forgetting to schedule cleaners, like just a mess. And I'm like, let's put it all in Jobber and have my team run it. It will run smoothly. Their emotional attachment to that program has cost them more money and time and effort than anything. To me, it's just so crazy. And that's why I want to say, don't get emotionally attached to your CRMs. It's a robot. If it works for you, work it. And if it doesn't, find something else. Don't get emotionally attached. It's crazy that people get emotionally attached to that. There are some long-term investments to benefits to investing in technology that we're all aware of. We know that it's going to create smoothness in your operations. We know that it's going to create customer satisfaction, and we know that it's going to make your analytics and your decision-making easier. If you need a profit and loss statement, you click a button and it's there, no human error. And it also helps for training your staff, obviously, makes them more efficient. Getting started with technology, augmenting capabilities with technology, it really should enhance and not replace human insight. So it's the tool you use to find out the KPIs in your business. It's a tool you use to keep track of what your employees are doing. It's really great because they can clock in and clock out, and it adds up all their hours, but you still have to go in and make sure that they didn't forget to clock out. Sometimes I'll see, in a 2-hour period, somebody's got 186 hours. I know they forgot to clock out. I had an owner who just started with this system, and she was doing her payroll, and she actually paid somebody for 202 hours in 2 weeks. She had to, and then she was upset with us. She's like, well, this system's supposed to know it. Well, actually, the Jobber does allow you to it does have a feature in which it will automatically clock people in when they show up and clock them out when they leave, when they get within a radius, but it's not as efficient. It has so many glitches that it's easier to just not use it for every time I've ever tried to use it. But you still have to go through and check their timesheets. You have to make sure that they aren't forgetting to clock out, or that they're not, staying 20 minutes late at a job. We do this as we go. Our staff is required to check the time that the employees were at the job, and if it was more or less than what they were assigned, then we have to ask them why, because now we're going to find out if there was some sort of problem at the job, or if we need to reassess the procedures. And then they have to go and check the notes. So if the timing is wrong, if they forgot to clock out, or if they clocked out too early, then we fix their clock in right there in the job. Then we check their notes to see if there's anything that happened on the job that should be reported, or if there's any systems that need to be updated. And then we actually invoice the job. So those are being done every visit. That sort of thing is being taken care of every visit. So that's how we keep on track of their timesheets. It's going to, keeping all of these systems smooth makes for a smoother operation, which makes your employees happier. When they don't have to feel confusion when they get to a job, that makes them feel happy. You know, when you say a confused mind will not go forward, that's a sales saying. A confused mind never buys. The truth is, a confused mind never moves forward. You know, if there's so many times in a day that there's something that I need to do that I don't do just because I'm not quite sure how to handle it, like little menial things. Sometimes I don't make supper because I'm not sure how I want to put the ingredients together to make supper. And the next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock at night, I'm starving and I have all this food in the house, but I'm just too confused about how to put it together to make a meal. Like a confused mind will not go forward. Let's keep going. Does anybody want to give any input? Like, please feel free to interrupt me. I know it's all very boring stuff. And so I don't want to lose you. I also want to get through it. So I need you to let me know.
I just want to let you know that it's very hard for us to interrupt you when you're explaining the standard operating procedures that got you to where you are now. I mean, I'm just taking notes.
Yeah, as long as you're finding it palatable, as long as you're still with me and not dying off. I don't like to just continue to drone on. I also don't like to bother people if you're in the mode. So just let me know. Okay. Thanks, Nolan. I appreciate that. You made me feel better.
No problem.
I'm
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I don't want to anymore.
He sounds like me. Staying updated with technology. Always keep your eye on what's coming on. And what I do want to say about this is don't be so quick to leave your technology that you waste a lot of money, but always be willing to explore your options. So, you know, one of the things that I always say about Jobber is that I left Jobber so many times. So Jobber, I started with Jobber when they were still really quite new. And there were a lot of glitches. One of the things I just hated it, was I'd be evenings and weekends trying to do my invoicing and there was no customer service. Their people did not work evenings and weekends. And I'd be so angry because when I signed up with Jobber, I thought they were this big conglomerate. I didn't know that they were just getting started in the industry. Like they did a really good job of hiding that until after, till you needed them and they weren't there for you. So then that was the first time that I left them. I left them for another program that would offer me the customer service. And so I got to this program and sure, they had customer service when I needed it, except the program was so pathetic that I never needed any help with it. So I went back to Jobber because I didn't want the pathetic program. And when I went back, I thought, I'm just going to put up with it. I'm going to learn to work different hours so that Jobber's there when I need them. So then we moved forward and then we didn't like the fact that you couldn't speak to your employees using Jobber, or so we thought. And so we went to another program that you could actually have your employees, communication with your employees. And that was really, really great. But they didn't have job forms. They didn't have procedures. They didn't have all these other things that I really wanted. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll have to figure out another way to go to talk to my employees. So I went back to Jobber. And that's when I found out there is a trick. There's a cheat. You can actually speak to your employees in Jobber. We do it all the time now. And it actually has another benefit that we can keep track of all the paperwork and everything. It's amazing. You guys want to know the cheat, message me and I'll tell you if you're already in Jobber and you need the cheat. So then the third time I left was because my receptionist said, my daughter was my receptionist. She said, this is just too complicated. The scheduling is too complicated. And I was like, I don't know what you mean. It's pretty simple. I don't know, but maybe I think it's simple and it's really not simple. So I said, you know what, I'm going to give you, you have the power, do whatever you want. So she went out and she found this other program and it was a dream come true. She was just like beside herself. This is going to solve all our problems. We're never going to have problems again. It was $3,500 to sign up and $1,800 a month. I was like, sounds a little steep, but if you insist, we'll do this. If you think that it will make your productivity so much more that we don't have to hire a second person, it's going to pay for itself. Let's do it. So she did. $6,000 later, we hadn't even gotten the onboarding done. $6,000 later and 2 months in, we hadn't gotten the onboarding done. It was such a complicated system. We just couldn't make it work. It just wouldn't work for us. And then she felt terrible. We went back to Jobber. She's like, I'll do anything to have Jobber back. This is ridiculous. This is a terrible program. We should have never invested this money. Now the program must work for someone. Otherwise, how are they in business? But it didn't work for us. And I don't believe that program. If I ever hear any clients saying that they're thinking about that program, I will talk to them out of it because it is ridiculously priced. for what it offers. So there we go. I spent probably $10,000 trying other programs over 4 or 5 years, and we always ended up back at Jobber. And what happened? Jobber just keeps getting better. Now they've got all these integrations. You can talk to your teams. They're there evenings and weekends. You know, I'm really glad. I still do explore other options, but I don't put my business on the line to do it. You know what I mean? Back then, I did put my business on the line a couple times, and I was lucky to not suffer too much consequence. So, in conclusion, you're going to be using technology to transform your daily operations, and you're going to create profitable workflow from that. It's going to be challenging, but if you're, you know, doing your homework and you're carefully planning it, it's going to enhance your growth. So you should embrace the opportunity. Don't put technology aside, especially in this day and age. If you aren't using technology, somebody who is going to replace you. Establishing quality control. Yes, yes, yes. This is what I've been waiting for. Please, please, please start thinking about quality control. Even if you're somebody who doesn't have your first client yet, start thinking about quality control. Now, I remember back to the days when I had it all figured out. I was going to be the very best cleaner. Like, all I had to do was open my doors because I had such an amazing will to run a cleaning business that, of course, my quality was going to be amazingly perfect every time. And my quality was amazingly perfect every single time, according to my standards. What you don't know about quality assurance is that the things that matter to you don't always matter to your clients. Quality assurance means that you are fulfilling your clients' expectations for quality. So you might think that it's really important to go and wash every single scuff mark off a wall. Like, this place is not clean until that's done. And your client's like, I don't want you to spend 3 hours cleaning the scuff marks off the wall. What I want you to do is I want you to clean the legs of my chairs. I want the chairs of my legs cleaned every visit. And you're like, but that's not what's important. What's important is the walls not being scuffed. This is when you have problems. Quality assurance, quality control measures are about the client, and make them about the client. And then once you understand what the client needs, then empower your employees to do what the client needs. So one of the things that we do in the Freedom Program is, for every client, Christine, I can hear you. Christine's excited because we're going to start doing quality assurance next week. I can hear you talking to me. Christine always, I don't know, you guys, honestly, I can read Christine's mind. I swear it. Okay, the first thing you do is ask your clients what they want. You talk to them. Like, in our elite proposal contract or document, it says, here are the quality control issues that are our general quality control. We will pick the best person for the job. We will create a procedure for every job. We will follow up with every client, and we will empower our employees to do better. But when you're creating your quality assurance, what you want to do is ask them, what do you want? Do you want me to check with you? And how often? Do you want me to check with you once a week, once a month, once every 6 weeks, once a quarter? How often do you want me to physically check with you to see how you're feeling about the job? Some people don't want to be bothered. And then when they tell you, believe them. All right, I'm just going to have my admin assistant create a task reminder to check up with you every 6 weeks. Then when they tell you when, ask them how. Do you want me to send you a text message, an email? Do you want me to stop by and see how you're doing? Should I bring donuts, or do you guys hate donuts, right? That's another thing. Don't assume that they hate donuts, and don't assume because they work at a fitness place that they hate donuts. In fact, they probably want donuts. Bring them donuts. Ask them how, like, you know, do you want an email? What is it? How do you want me to contact you? And then, when can I expect a response? If you ask me to text you, how long do you want me to wait before I remind you? Okay, create a quality control system. Quality control is asking your client what they want and giving it to them. Now, the other, I guess that's actually quality assurance, because the other part is when you're doing walkthroughs, spontaneous checks of properties. Those are that's quality control. The other thing I was talking about is assurance. You can have a walkthrough every single time that your employees visit a place, and you can empower them to perform the walkthrough. And if you have them doing that walkthrough, when you do that a quality assurance check at the time that the customer stated, they're going to say everything's wonderful. Your team is the best. I have no complaints. Okay. But don't assume that because they're doing the walkthrough that there are no complaints, because sometimes you don't realize that the client wants you to take care of something you should be taking care of. Another quality control measure that I have in place, it starts on the consult, you guys. On the consult, I let the clients know, hey, we have the absolute best employees. See if you can pick up on the quality control. I'm going to ask you guys after this, tell me where the quality control piece is. Okay, here's the statement I make. We have a system to attract the very best employees. And then once we've found the very best employees, we have a whole entire system based on our core values of do good, be good, do what is required, and work as a team. And we are actually empowering our employees to actually give the type of service that you're requesting. So if ever you have a concern, please let us know right away. We know that our cleaners are the best in the industry, but they are not perfect. Every once in a while, they may make a mistake. If that happens, we want to hear from you. And we want you to tell us right away, nothing is too small. The littlest thing, if it's bothering you, we want to know about it so we can correct it, because this will allow us to get better, and it will allow our cleaners to get better, and everybody's happier. Where is the quality control in that statement? Does anybody know? You don't get to answer, Peter. Peter doesn't get to answer. Everybody's going, it sounds like the whole conversation was quality control. There is a specific quality control measure in there.
I guess asking them what's most important for them.
I didn't actually say that in the statement. It is a good idea. You can write it down, Peter, and then I'll let you know later if you're right. Peter's just, does anybody else have an idea? It's not bad what you said, but it wasn't in that statement.
Was it according to their standards?
Oh, not quite. Very, very close. Carol?
I think it's the part where you allow the client to realize that there is open communication, and yes, we have the best, but we are still improving. We are always looking to improve, and we have them become a part of that improvement.
Yeah, basically, yeah. When I said, anytime that you have the smallest complaint, we want you to let us know. I have just hired the client to be my quality control person. Anytime that you have the smallest complaint, I want you to let us know. And I don't care how small it is. The owner is your informant for quality control. You got it right. High five. So there were a lot of components you guys picked out there, and you're right. But if you can get your client happy to be a part of your quality control situation, then everybody's going to be happier. Everybody's going to be happy and better off, because the one thing is that many clients, like, they don't want to bother you. They're especially if you get a client who is bothered by everything in their life, where their staff are coming at them, their clients are coming at them. They know the feeling of having, like, the negative side of quality control is complaints. Most people think. I think it's the positive side. But after so many complaints, you might start to feel like beaten down, and you're like, I just don't want to hear it anymore. No more problems, right? So they don't want to bother you, because what they're assuming is that you have lots of problems. And what you need to let them know is you don't have any problem that's any better than them, or that's any more important than them. So I want to hear from you, because I want to make sure you're taken care of. Now they're going to let you know every time there's a problem. The focus is that if you let them have lots of problems, if, like, they see that there's a ring on the counter after yesterday's cleaning, but next time it's gone, but they still know that that ring was there, so they're always watching for it. And then another time they notice that there's streaks on the wall underneath the hand dryer, and they're like, oh, I don't like the streaks on the wall, but it's not too bad. But then there was that time that there was that coffee stain in the kitchen. That's twice now. Then they're like, then they see that the garbage cans haven't been cleaned on the outside, and they're like, those garbage cans are looking really dirty. And you know what else? They're always leaving this, like, ring on the kitchen, and those streaks under the hand dryer are really annoying me. Now it's starting to build up, and then everything that they have on their list is heavier than the last thing. And the next thing you know, it's the simple thing. You left a light on. Your cleaners left a light on in a back room and they phone you and they're just irate. They're like, your cleaner left a light on in the back room and I don't understand why they can't just follow simple instructions. It's not the light. It's the fact that these things have been building up. And these are all simple things that might have happened over 6 months, 4 mistakes in 6 months. But to them, because it's never been resolved, it's happening all the time. You'll hear them say that. They're always screwing it up, or they're always forgetting this. And then this is where your proactive core values conversation coming at you. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that you are unsatisfied and that all of these things have been going on. You know, according to our core values, we really need to do what is required or do good, be good, and do what is required in order to make sure that you are happy. And the first thing that bothers me is this something, did all of this happen in just this last week? I'm going to say, well, no, actually, no. It's been happening over the last 6 months, but it's really irritating. Oh, I understand, you know, and I wanted to remind you that another core value of ours is to work as a team. And do you remember in the beginning when I asked you, please don't let these things add up? Please just let us know every time that you have a concern so we can correct it. Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I improve my SOPs, make sure that my employees know these things have been bothering you. And I'm going to make sure that we find a solution and implement it. And what I ask for you in the interest of teamwork is from now on, could you just let me know immediately when something's bothering you? Don't let it build up so that you're this frustrated by the time you get a hold of me. I'll say, yes, you're right. I'll try, but I don't want to bother you. And then you can say, you know what? It's no bother whatsoever. All you have to do is send a message or an email and we'll take care of it. We actually see concerns as an opportunity to do better. It doesn't bother us. In fact, you're helping us be better, which is helping us offer a better service, which is giving us more work. And that's what's important to us. And then they're like, I can see Peter, he's just smiling away. Then they're smiling and they're happy. They're like, right on, you're amazing. I love working with you. You're such a great problem solver. All they needed was to be heard. And then you remind them that you can't hear them if they don't speak to you. How did you like that for core values conversation? Did anybody have any feedback? I even calmed myself down with that core values conversation. Talk to their soul. That's all I have to say. So defining quality for your business, you need to establish your specific metrics for service quality. And my specific metrics is every issue is important. I don't want to wait. When I go at 6 weeks to do their walkthrough, because they requested a walkthrough every 6 weeks, I want it to be a fun visit. Of course, I want to know if something's wrong. But if they've told me the things that were wrong as we're going, then I know that when I get there, if there's something they need to talk about, it's going to be 1 or 2 things. It's not going to be overwhelming. I'm not going to feel embarrassed. It's, you know, I'm taking care of them and they're taking care of me. That's my measure. Always make sure that you're professional. You're using professionalism, and make sure your staff understand professionalism. Don't let them get away with it. I told you guys the story yesterday where my staff like to use the saying, my bad. And I will jump on them every time I hear them say it. If they say it in a staff meeting, if I see them saying it to each other, I jump on them. That is not professional. You are during your working hours, you're going to speak and communicate in a professional manner. That's the way you need to be with your teams. If they are showing up not wearing their t-shirt, their company t-shirt, and you say, where's your t-shirt? And they say, oh, gee, I forgot to wash it. Really? How many t-shirts do you have? Well, I only have one. And how you're working full time? Yeah. Well, 3 t-shirts isn't enough. You never know what's going to happen. I need to get you 2 more t-shirts. Here you go. Please don't let this happen again. Right. Or if they say, I lost it 6 weeks ago, I have no idea where it went. Please, it's very, very important that you let me know when your t-shirt's lost so that we can make sure that you're showing up in your very best professional self. Our core values here are do good, be good, do what is required and work as a team. And under do good, be good, not showing up in the uniform that I've made very clear you should wear. Is that following our core values? No. Okay, what can I do to help you overcome the obstacle? Oh, you need 2 t-shirts? All right, let's get you 2 t-shirts. Can you be sure to wear them and promise me this will never happen again? Insinuate in professionalism always. Don't let them get away with it. Not even the tiniest thing. It's the more professional your teams get used to acting out of habit, the speedier your service is going to be and the higher quality. Once they develop good habits, they're easy to follow. The hard work is developing the habits. And yeah, of course, we've just been talking about audits and inspections. Make sure you're doing them. Ask your clients what they want, and then do it according to their likes. You can even ask them, how do you want it reported? You know, if somebody says, I want you to do 6-week walkthroughs, you can say, okay, once I've done that walkthrough, how would you like it reported? Would you like a graph, a letter, an email, a text? Do you want me to stop by with donuts? Well, how do you want me to let you know what I found when I did my walkthrough? You're always making sure no tasks are overlooked. You can find this if you have a system where your employees are required to make notes. Make it so that your employees are required to make notes of what they did that day, even if it's redundant. This is the time when redundancy actually works in your favor. So you'll want them to say, today at this job, I cleaned the bathrooms, I washed the kitchen floor, and I took out the garbage. And then if they say that 5 days a week, fine. But the 1 day a week they don't say it, you'll be so used to seeing it, but you'll be like, did they not take out the garbage? How come it's not on the list? Did they just forget to put it on the list? I'd better message them and find out. Hey there, I noticed that you didn't note that you took out the garbage on Friday. Just wanted to double check. Did the garbage get taken out? And do call them on their notes, because you want them to know you're watching. Okay, they think that they're doing notes and nobody's watching. Anytime you get a chance to let them know you noticed something, it's not about being picky. It's about letting them know that, hey, I've got your back and I'm watching. So if they forgot to do something, you say, oh, okay, accidents happen. I'm really glad that we noticed this. I'm just going to get a hold of the client right now and let them know that you were in a rush because your cousin was in a car accident and you forgot to take out the garbage. And they'll be understanding. We'll send somebody else to take out the garbage. Everything's okay. You know, you can create trust and confidence by catching the mistakes and fixing them right away. So you're going to be training your team. That's training your team actually while you're at it. You're letting them know what your solution is. When they make a mistake, you tell them how you have their back and what you're going to do. That's training them. It's training them to trust that if they do make a mistake, they're not going to be in trouble. So they're not going to be hiding mistakes. And they'll actually get to a point where they'll be like, hey, I forgot to take out the trash at that job yesterday. What do you want me to do? But they're not going to be thinking, I better just not tell them I didn't take out the trash and hope nobody notices. They're going to be willing to talk to you because they know you're going to work with them. And incorporating client feedback, I just talked about that. I'm not going to spend more time on it. I don't even care what the slideshow lady says. I'm not doing it. Implementing corrective actions. Yeah, we've been talking about this too. There's so many corrective actions. What is one corrective action that I spoke of during this last few minutes? Can anybody remember or recall? Tell me. Brandon knows.
Yes, you were saying that a part of your standard operating procedures is for the employees to show up with their shirts on, and if they have a problem or the dog ate it or something, to let you know, then you could get them a couple more t-shirts.
That's a great one. That is a really good corrective action, isn't it?
Yes.
Say, hey, because you don't have your t-shirt on today, I'm going to reward you with 3 t-shirts, and now you don't have any excuse. My employees loved the t-shirts, and every once in a while, well, what we would do is, we'd start to get low, and so we'd do a great big mass order. We'd order like 70 or 100 t-shirts at a time, and then at our company functions, we just bring them and say, here, take what you need. Take whatever you need. And they'd always be really thoughtful too. They'd take 2 or 3, or do you mind if I take 3? But they never took too much, but they loved it. It made them feel so important that we just say, here, take what you need. They'd be like, oh, right on. I only need 2. They loved new t-shirts.
Fresh shirts again.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, or if we changed the color, like, so ours were gray and white. And one time we got this like stone washed gray and white for them. They love that. They ate that up. Yeah. Yeah. But they shrunk easily. So yeah, corrective action. Another corrective action is to very politely message them and say, hey, I noticed this didn't happen. My favorite sentence is, can we discuss the obstacle that created this issue? And then they'll say, well, I was in a hurry and I didn't notice. And then I'll say, get your act together. You're just like always making mistakes. I'm just so sick and tired of having to tell you. I think that's what I said.
You
No.
wouldn't say that.
To me,
I was just checking. Oh, yeah, to Peter all the time. That's a nice way of putting what I said.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nolan was paying attention. All right. Reviewing and updating quality control processes. Keep detailed records of the things going wrong, and then establish new standards. Audit your processes and ask for client feedback. Well, anytime that client gives you feedback, positive or negative, your employees should hear about it. And how you're going to be doing that is in the staff meetings. You can say, I just wanted to call out Nolan. I wanted to let you know that we've been getting nothing but good feedback on your sales calls. Everybody says, I love it when Nolan comes into a sales call.
Nice. Well, I'm happy for that.
They do love you, by the way.
Do you get any
Right.
feedback about my marketing calls?
Yeah, when the potential clients message me, they tell me what a nice guy you are and that you're very smart. Yeah, I get that feedback all the time. I should be telling you that more often. I'm sorry. I'll try
It's
harder.
okay.
Like for me, I already know it, right? I already know that Nolan's a really great guy. He's likable, he's smart, he's funny. I already know all that. So when people tell me, I agree with them, but I forget that maybe you don't know that. So I'll get better.
I appreciate
Okay.
you, Carrie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We still got to discuss Rana, but we'll do that.
Documenting quality control procedures. We'll keep detailed records. We already did this. Let me move on. Always be focusing on continuous improvement. Actually, let me just do a poll. I don't care if it is your personal life, your business life, if it's at school, if it's at the gym. Could we all talk about one thing that we noticed today in an area of our life that we need to improve upon? One thing that we noticed today. I'll start with you, Brandon, because you're the top of my screen and you shook your head yes.
I need to improve on a lot of things.
We all do.
Yep,
But what's
taking
one?
action. I guess taking action. And
Taking action.
stop being so afraid.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That is the most powerful thing to learn.
It's a hard
The day
one
I
to
learned it,
admit.
it changed my life. Yeah. The day I learned it, it changed my life. Go ahead, Nolan. One thing that you noticed today. Go ahead.
I said it. It's a hard one to admit when you say I need to take more action in my life or I need to be less afraid. Both of those are two sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm. I think especially because we're all taught to be.
Uh-oh. Did she freeze?
She did.
Hey,
So
Nolan, do
Nolan-
you have one thing that you learned about yourself today that you need to improve? Just one thing.
Yeah, I think I need to improve my natural waking up time because every time I wake up to an alarm, I feel like I don't have enough sleep. But if I let myself sleep in until my alarm or until I naturally woke up today, so that's something I need to improve is getting up a little earlier.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. Our sleep cycle is so screwed up right now. It's crazy. Oh boy. It really drains you when your sleep cycle gets messed up. It's so draining and but I usually when I'm in Eastern Standard Time, I'm at my happiest. I function really well in Eastern, but in Pacific Standard Time, I'm always feeling tired. It's crazy. One thing you noticed about yourself today that you could improve.
You cut out there. Who are you talking to?
You, Chris.
Oh, you're talking to me. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, there's always lots I can improve. Yeah, I think confidence for me is the big one. I think I've got a lot of the skills and a lot of the smarts. I just need to step into myself a little better.
I like that. I like that. That's such a powerful thing to say. What you said, that's definitely going to change your world. Step into myself a little. That's going to change your world. You just made a life-changing analysis of yourself. Congratulations. That's superhero stuff.
Thanks.
I'm gonna wear my superhero shirt.
I learned from the best,
Oh yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just gonna assume that's me.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see. Charlotte, you said in the chat, you said time management and driving in a car. And I assume what you mean is time management is the thing that you learned about that you need to work on and that you are driving in a car right now. So I am not going to call on you unless you're not in a car and I'm all off base. You're welcome to unmute yourself. Time management is something that is really important to understand. But I think for you, I would say finding the things that will save you time. So time management, maybe the problem isn't with you, but maybe you need to embrace some of the technologies around you to allow you to to have time management. I don't know enough about you yet. I'm just guessing. The other thing is to, for sure, everybody in this room, we are all guilty of this, knowing when to delegate. Give it away to someone else. I am working on that right now. Tomorrow's a big day for me. Yes, delegating. Awesome. Yeah, good. I hit the nail. This goes to my communication skills. Do you guys know that when I was in healthcare, I learned how to understand communication skills and more specifically, the non-verbal communication skills so well that I would get called to translate for I always get the words mixed up, clients, employees, customers, for residents who could only speak with their eyes. That they would call me in to translate because the resident would be like trying to tell them with their eyes what they needed, and they'd call me because I was so good at it. Communication skills are very good for me in reading other people, not always the best for me trying to get other people to understand me, but we'll work on that. That's what speaking coach is for. See, communication. All right. Good one. Delegating. We are all definitely weak in the area of delegating, I think. Me as well. So I was going to tell you that I'm so excited. I have a business manager starting on the team tomorrow, and she's going to be taking a lot of things off my plate so that I can be with my clients more, which is amazing because I resent the things that keep me from doing the things I love. So as soon as you start to kind of resent something that you need to do in your business, this means that internally, without admitting it, you know that you shouldn't be wasting your time on this. That's if you want to know what you should delegate, think about the thing when you do it, you resent it. That's the thing you should delegate. All right, Carol, what did you learn? One thing you learned about yourself today that you could improve upon. Peter, do you have one thing that you learned today that you could improve upon?
Yes.
What is it?
I was thinking about it today, and I'm thinking we need to own an umbrella.
Going out in the rain.
Yes. You never know the possibilities of when it can happen.
If I didn't say take our poncho,
Yeah.
we'd end up in the rain so many times. He just does not remember to plan ahead for the rainy season.
I find that I'm also noticing that a lot more people are carrying umbrellas in the sunshine. And I'm like, darn, we should just have an umbrella anyways, just for the sun.
Age is catching up with us. We're going to start carrying umbrellas, whether it's sunny or not. That has to be something you start doing in your 50s.
Right.
It has to be. Darn it. All right. Carol was unable to unmute, but I think Josh, are you able to talk to us?
Sure. Couple
Thank
things.
you.
Couple things.
Well,
Charlotte took it right out of my mouth. Time management is big for me, and also I'm very impatient with stuff. So like when I send out emails to people, it takes them days to respond back, and I get very like, did they get my email? Did they not get my email? And so that's kind of frustrating because I'm a very impatient person. But the biggest thing is the time management.
Maybe the two go hand in hand. I can't think of a way to make that connect. Time management and
delegation. Delegation was a thing for a while until I hired my two people that I could delegate, the few accounts that I have that they deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm still at that trusting because I go through QuickBooks, so that's how they clock in and out. So when so I'm still at that like nervous stage. Are they going to show up? Are they not going to show up? Because that's the only tracking system I have right now. And so I'm constantly like looking on QuickBooks to make sure that, they clocked in, that they're there. I guess, I don't know, when I first hired this one employee that I have, I did a visit when we had no school. So, because the client that this guy does for me is a Monday through Friday, during first shift. And obviously I'm at school during that time. So I had to hire somebody for it if I wanted the account. And I did a site visit to kind of, go to the client and ask how things are going and, and stuff. And we had some complaints at the beginning, but now they're telling me he's doing a phenomenal job, blah, 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 which is good to hear. But I showed up there to do a site visit and he's sitting in his car, but Jetty's clocked in. And at the time that when I got there, he was clocked in for 24 minutes and he ended up, and so I didn't want to like look like I was like stalking him or nothing. So I just kind of like acted like I didn't see him. But then I did have a conversation with him like the next day after I actually talked to him face to face. I had asked that, I had told him, I said, that's stealing time, and I could terminate you for that, but I don't want to have to do that because the client is starting to like you, and we're starting to get compliments, with your work and stuff. Because I didn't get to train him properly because when I got the account, school just started, so I just did a visit with him in the evening on Friday, and then he started Monday. So he didn't really get training on the site. I just did a walkthrough with him and had him fill out all his paperwork. But that kind of bothered me when I showed up there unexpectedly and seeing him sitting in his car for an hour, still on the on the clock. He didn't even start working yet.
Yeah. And when you think about it, I think that one of your number one core values is integrity, isn't it? Or honesty?
Yeah. It's integrity, honesty, and vigilance.
Yeah. So he broke all three of those.
What's that?
He broke all three of those.
Right.
Vigilance. Wow. So that would really get to you. And I was going to say to you when you first started sharing, I thought somebody has broke your trust, and that's why you feel the need to check in all the time and make sure that because somebody broke your trust and left you in a situation. So
but the only thing that bothers me now is I see he's clocked in, but now lately he's been forgetting, quote unquote, forgetting to clock out, and he claims it's because of connection
connectivity
issues.
Oh, yeah. I know. Oh, and for sure.
So it's like, is he forgetting to clock out because now he's off of the maps and he can't, whatever. So it's like, I want to figure out, I know here in Wisconsin, I don't know about anywhere else, but I know here in Wisconsin, a lot of time clocking cleaning companies go through like a phone system where they have to call in a 800 number and type in their employee number when they arrive, and they have to use like the company phone. They can't use their cell phone, and then they have to clock out there too. But it's like, how do I know he's not going to clock in from there, go out to his vehicle, do whatever he wants to do, and then come back in and start to, so it's just really hard to trust people that do that,
Yeah, I'll be really excited to be able to work with you on employee attraction, because the truth of the matter is that if somebody wants to cheat you, they're going to find a way to cheat you. Right. I mean, you can go to a job, you can phone from the phone, and then you can go out and grab something from Tim Hortons, come back, do a quick clean, and then phone from the phone again. I mean, if they want to cheat you, they will. But there are systems in place, like for Jobber, they have this GPS tracking that you can use, and still they could cheat you on that as well. And you reminded me of one of our clients who had an employee she was a pretty good employee until we started catching her. And so what she would do is she didn't want to have GPS tracking. She wouldn't approve the GPS tracking from Jobber, which is it's fine. But then we needed her to be able to go to the storage unit, and she didn't want to have us know when she was going in and out of the storage unit. Like she's like, no, I'm not putting that up on my phone. I don't want to be tracked. And, we thought, well, the client said, well, everybody has a right to their own personal, privacy. And I said, yes, they do, but not if they're working for you. If they're working for you, they are required to be in your program, using your program. If they're going to the storage unit, they're required to have the app. That's all there is to it. And I'll tell you this, in this day and age, it doesn't matter if you give permission to the app, you are being tracked anyway. So it's kind of like a little bit ludicrous when people say that. Somebody in here might not agree with me. I don't want to argue about it. But I do want to say, I've never found an instance where somebody refused to use our systems for tracking them, that they weren't stealing time. And with her, that's what it was. She finally left when we just said, well, she was doing what you just said. She would forget to clock out. And then we'd say, well, then, just message us when you're leaving the job, or we'll message you when you're supposed to be leaving the job, and then you'll remember to clock out. Well, she didn't want to be lying. She didn't specifically want to outright lie to us. So she'd rather just not clock out. And when we started finding solutions to the clocking out, she quit. She quit because she wasn't there. And then, of course, her work was starting to show for itself. She was missing things, and places were getting dirtier and dirtier. And, So,
I guess my biggest issue with this guy is that when I was getting complaints and I was being stern about it, and that they were even threatened. I had just got this account, a couple months ago, and within the first month they were already threatening that they were going to have to look for someone else because he's doing a horrible job. And granted, it was his first week. All the complaints happened his first week. So then I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I apologized to the customer. I said, I do apologize. It'll get better. He just hasn't really officially, got trained. He was getting different offices confused because this is a client where they want one office done twice a week, one office done once a week, some offices done every day. So it got confusing. And so he was getting the offices confused. Well, so when I was told him the complaints and told him you needed to shape up or ship out kind of thing, he did like a poor me. He says, cleaning's my second nature. I can't believe you're getting all these complaints. He says, I think I'm being rushed because I told him it was going to be like a 3-hour job. And I feel that that's more than enough because when I did it, it took me like 2.5 hours. And I had my A1 number one staff member who can't really clean during the day because she has a full-time job, but she works from home, so she offered to take her laptop with her and kind of double dipped a little bit to kind of help me out because it's not like I could just leave school and be like, hey, I have to go to this account because my full-time job is education. And we both were able to get it done in under 3 hours. Well, he told me that I wasn't giving him enough time and he demanded 4 hours. So then I'm like, okay, well, I said, how many days a week do you need 4 hours? Like, I need to get to the bottom of this. And he says, well, I think every day. And I said, okay, well, I will give you 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, but we will revisit this in 2 months or whatever. And then I find out that I popped in.
In his car.
I popped in unexpectedly and seen him doing that. And then I didn't say nothing to him. So he didn't know that I caught him, and then seeing that it only took him 3.5 hours minus, 3.5 hours, and that's with stealing an hour of my time. So it's like, really, reality, it took you 2.5 hours because for an hour you didn't do anything. So that's what bothered me the most.
Yeah.
So I mean, since then he's been doing like 3 hours and 15 minutes, 3 hours and 30 minutes. Like he's never done 4 hours. He just feels more relaxed because I gave him 4 hours. But it's still the principle. It's still a principle of it.
Yeah. He needs to be replaced. He's a C employee, and C employees are replaced with A candidates. He needs to be replaced. Yeah. No matter what, because the longer that it goes on, the longer you have the problem. Letting it go on does not solve the problem, and solving the problem now just lets you move forward. So you're afraid to put somebody else in. You're afraid to put somebody else in because you don't want to upset the apple cart and have somebody who doesn't do it as well as him, now that you've gone through these problems. But here's the thing, open communication is a really amazing thing. So what I would do is I would call up the client and say, you know what, we're growing and we're starting to hire more employees. So we have some employees that are going to come through and they're going to be training on various jobs so that if the employees that are on the job are sick or have family emergencies, we have somebody trained to come in. So things might not be perfect for the next couple of weeks. And if they aren't, just let me know and I'll make sure that my team is paying closer attention. It's just kind of a part of business that we really do need to have more than one person trained. And we'll do our best to make sure that we have everybody trained appropriately. We just can't be sure that they'll be perfect in the first couple of weeks. And then your client will be like, oh, all right, thanks for letting me know. And they'll be expecting it. So this is how you can alleviate those newbie concerns that you want to avoid. Just understand, like I'm always saying, acceptance is the thing. Accept that at some point you're going to have to put a new employee in here. Because if this employee is already against your 3 core values, they're not going to last long.
Right.
So accept that you have to put somebody new in, and then you can be proactive in, you don't have to tell them that other employee sucks. You can tell them that you are training somebody new in case they can't be there. And then you can make sure they're not there anymore once this new employee is trained.
Yeah, so like my whole plan when I got this account, because of it being during the day, I wanted to hire 2 people because I wanted 2 people to clean it. I mean, granted, it would probably take them an hour and a half to 2 hours for each person, but I wanted that like, what's the word I want to use? I wanted that like freedom where if somebody would call in, I wouldn't have to worry about filling it. That other person would just do the whole account.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody were to call in, so I didn't have to, you know, go after school when they want it done during the daytime, and you know, and stuff like that. So that's what my plan was, but that never happened.
No, keep going as you grow. As you grow, then
Yeah.
these plans start to come together. It's not always that simple in the beginning, for sure. I mean, the concept is simple, but you've got to get there in order to be able to implement it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I probably got all off topic.
I think that everybody can relate, though. I think that we all have these issues, and it's very comforting to know that we're not the only one. So thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. I did want to say, I wanted to point out to each and every one of you that you actually just created growth for yourself and for your business, because you just identified an area that needs to be improved. And by identifying it, your brain already kicks into gear and says, oh, that needs to be improved. Well, how can I start doing that? You've like jump started your brain into making decisions and improvements. So if you were, you know, you always hear them say, find one thing every day that you could improve. It's not that hard. You don't have to soul search, because as you're improving the little things, the big things are affected, right? So you can just say to yourself at any point in the day, it doesn't have to be morning, it doesn't have to be when you're fresh. You could say it before you go to bed, but just think, what is one thing I can improve? And it could be, well, I could improve the fact, I could improve my sleep ratio and go to bed now instead of in an hour. That could be your improvement. That will affect you in a positive way. So I'm proud of you because you all identified an area for improvement. Let's see where we're at. Conclusion on quality control. Just make sure you have a good quality control system and that you're taking care of it, that you're implementing it, and you're finding ways to get it done. Continuous improvement. We've been over all this, so I'm just going to scroll through. Encouraging employee input. We did all this. I got ahead of myself again, so I'm not going to make you guys sit through while I try to say it again in a different way. A suggestion box, yes. Wow, that took me back to just before I joined this program. Those things don't happen. Yeah, Christine, hey, that is something that I should have said, is that I did say everybody has these problems, but eventually you get past this and then you have other problems. And oh, thank you. She said, before I joined this program, those things don't happen out very often anymore, but we've all been there. Carrie is wonderful at employee attraction, can help. Yeah, I love employee attraction. What I love about it is that there was a day in my life where I had the absolute worst employees. I just about quit. Like, I just about gave up my cleaning business. Like, I was done. I looked up at the sky, literally. I looked up at the sky and said, please, please, can you help me? If you help me, I will do everything I can to help every other business owner that ever goes through this. And the very next day, I found the online program that taught me employee attraction and retention. And then if you know the story, I had no money. I didn't know how I was going to come up with the $5,000 deposit. I went to and I couldn't pay my rent, and our electricity was going to get cut off, and we had no food. And I went to the post office thinking about how I was never going to be able to do it. And there was a prepaid credit card in the mail, a pre-approved credit card, $5,000. And then my husband let me spend it on the education, and then we grew our business. It was a $17,000 course. So $5,000 I had to put down, and then I had 9 weeks to come up with the rest. And we did. My husband made me promise that I would make sure that I made it paid off. So an investment decision that I made, without, the only consequence for me was that I would find a way to make it work. And that gave me the motivation to make it work, which is why I'm sitting here today. All because of those employees that were absolutely terrible employees. So I've been there. I know the feeling. I promise you. Why are you laughing at me?
Because we've done it so many times. Where we
restarted?
Well, where we had money put aside for something, and it's like, because there was that one time we had 2 weeks to come up with to pay rent. The rent money was in the account, and you needed it to do another course. And I said, if you can collect that money back within 2 weeks by doing this, then you can use it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I can do that, and you did.
Can you guys hear what he's saying? He's saying that. Yes. He's saying that more than once I've gone to him and said, I need to use the rent money to improve the business. And he said, you promised me that you'll have that back in 2 weeks. And I always do. And that's because it's not because it's magically there. It's not because it's not that everybody that spent the rent money on this thing that would improve their business does improve their business. It's because if I decide that I'm going to choose that thing, I make it happen. So like when people come to me and say, who is the most successful person in your program? It's the person that decides no matter what, I'm going to make this happen. Not the person that says, oh, I paid you, so it's going to work, you know? And so that's what I think he's trying to say. He's trying to say, you said it would happen, and so it does. And that's the truth. It's not because I'm magic. It's because I put my focus on it and make it happen.
And I trust you for it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The suggestion box is great. Think about different ways to make a suggestion box. One of the biggest suggestion boxes you have is asking for input. Asking for, like, if you have a CRM that sends out surveys to your clients, that's a suggestion box. Okay. Having staff meetings and asking for their input, that's a suggestion box. Having a Facebook group where you're putting surveys and polls, suggestion box. Suggestion box doesn't have to be called a suggestion box. Just ask people for their opinion. Tracking changes and outcomes. Yeah, did it help? Okay, so this is something that I have implemented in my business. I was trying to do this weekly, but the conversations and the output, we weren't able to keep up with it. So now I do it every second week, and I get into my team meeting every Tuesday. I have a meeting with my team meeting for the admins for the Freedom Program. It's usually about a 2-hour meeting. And in that meeting, it is focused on us making decisions that change things for the better. So everybody in the meeting answers these questions. What's going well? What's not going well? And what do you see for the future? And this is all, this pertains to their job, not necessarily to our program or to me or to the everyday grind, but to their job for them personally. What's going well, what's not going so well, and how do they see their future? And it's amazing the stuff that comes out of those 3 questions. And then what I do when I ask them those questions is when they say what they envision for the future, I say, come back next week and tell me how you're going to make that happen. So they might say, what's going really well is that we're seeing new clients and I'm really excited because we get new people to work with and I'm really happy. I'm thinking about BJ. He used this one recently. And then I said, okay, what's not going so well? Well, we don't really have a really great onboarding thing. And I can see that we're getting more clients at a time and we really need to figure out how we're going to onboard them more smoothly. I said, what do you want to see for the future? I want to see better onboarding. Great. Can you come back next week to the meeting with some ideas about how you're going to make the onboarding more smooth? And I'm going to see him tomorrow to see how that went because that was last week. So you can do that with your employees. Now, if you're having staff meetings once a month, you don't want to wait a month. So you could say, great, can you, by Friday, could you just text the admin portal and tell them what ideas you have? Or could you email me an outline of how we're going to make that better? Or, you know, there are different ways to get it from them. Don't wait a month. We see our team every week on Tuesdays for sure. And so we let it wait a week. Give them a week to get it done. They don't always get it done, but we still talk about it. Celebrating successes, definitely acknowledgement for everybody and praise, including your clients. Remember this, any client who has hired you is expecting you to be the authority, okay? The authority does not require praise from anybody beneath them on hierarchy. The authority requires praise from somebody above them. So first of all, if there's nobody in your life that is higher than you that can give you praise, find somebody, whether that's a mentor, a priest, a counselor, find somebody in a higher authority than you that can praise you for the good things you do. You guys, that is why I have the coaches I have, and I'm always seeking their approval. I'm always looking for their praise. The reason is because if I can wow my coach or my mentor, I'm doing something right, okay? And I shun away, my speaker coach, I'm shunning away from him because I haven't done my homework, and I know that he's probably he's always so kind to me when I get in a room with him. And when I get in a group, he's like, Carrie, I'm so glad you're here. He's always praising me. He's always trying to get me there more often, which I better get there or else I'm not going to, survive this coaching thing, this speaking thing. But see, you never expect your employees to praise you, okay? But when they do, be appreciative. If an employee says to you, you know what, you're amazing, Brandon. Thank you so much for everything you do. I really appreciate it. Do not shut it off. Do not say, don't say, oh, no, it's nothing. It is something if your employees are praising you, and you need to reciprocate with a thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. Sometimes I feel like I'm not really doing enough. Thank you so much for saying that. I worked really hard on that. Okay. Your employees want to know that they matter. And if they give you praise and you ignore it, you're telling them that their opinion doesn't matter, but never expect it from them. So the things that you say, they don't know how hard I work. They don't know what I go through. Stop doing that. They don't have to know that. That's why they're the employee and you're the employer. Okay. Sometimes we're going to throw ourselves a pity party. Just have the pity party with somebody up, not somebody down, and not your equal, unless it's your husband. I have a pity party with Peter all the time if my coach isn't available. Here's the thing. You should be teaching your employees this as well. You should never complain to somebody on the same level as you. You must always complain up. If you're complaining to somebody on the same level as you, nothing will happen. All that's going to happen is you're going to facilitate bitching and moaning, honestly. If you're complaining to somebody on the same level as you, then they have no power to make any changes for you. And the only time that we're ever complaining is when we're looking for change. So complain up, when you ever hear, like, when somebody says that their neighbor's kid broke into their house and stole something, and then you're like, well, did you call the cops? And they say, well, no, I don't want to get him in trouble. That's complaining at the same level, because I don't want anything to happen. But who are you affecting? Like, honestly, this kid is never going to learn that he can't break into people's places and steal things. And he's going to break into somebody else's house. And maybe someday he's going to come into somebody's house who has a gun and who shoots him. Like, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, which is complain up, sometime there's going to be some sort of consequence that isn't going to be nice for the person you're complaining about. So you're not doing them a favor by not complaining up too, by the way. Okay, I got a little off track, but I want you guys to understand celebrating success. Make sure that you are always praising the people that are on your downline, and always accept praise and thank them for it on the upline. And when you have praises, send them up. When you have some excuses, when you have complaints, send them up. Hate it when so I'll tell you guys this. Sometimes in my program, my clients are complaining to each other, and I know right away. I know immediately when they're complaining to each other and who they are, because what happens, they come to my meetings and they come to my masterminds with the exact same complaint, like, an attitude. And I'm like, oh, so who were you? Who were you meeting with last week? Because it's a funny thing that she's complaining, and usually one of them has decided that they don't want to follow my systems. And that's fine. If people don't want to follow my systems, that's fine. But I always say, prove my system wrong before you deny it. Don't go saying it doesn't work if you haven't even tried it. So they are not solving any complaint. And what happens then is somebody usually drops out. And when somebody drops out, then I feel like a failure, because if they drop out, they're missing out on massive growth in their business. So always complain up. If you're in my program, if you don't want to complain to me, you can complain to our staff. Sometimes you just need to vent. You don't really need it to go anywhere. You can complain to my staff. Don't complain to each other. Celebrate each other. All right, that's enough of that. Change. The thing that people hate the most. The thing that people will demand change and then revolt when it happens. It's unbelievable, the fear of change that people have. And when you think, I'm going to be drastic to get you guys to embrace this topic. You think about women who are in domestic violence situations, or men that are in domestic violence situations, and you wonder why they don't leave. The truth is because change is scary. Change is hard. People revolt at the idea of change. Or there's the things like people that yell and scream and holler for change, and then you do it, and then they just like, this sucks. I'm not doing it. They say to you that they want, let's say, you know, what is a good example of change that people say they want and then they hate? Change, like the changes are so subtle. Somebody will say,
some people want to move and then they stop, they put it off because they're afraid to move.
a big change that we had, actually, now that I think back, was when everybody was complaining about our Vim with bleach. They were complaining about the Vim with bleach for other reasons. Like, I can't even remember, but I just remember it being so stupid. Oh, I remember. It was because it was staining the shirts, the t-shirts, you know, the ones that I supply them, the uniform that I supply them. The Vim, if it splattered their t-shirt, it stained it, and they didn't like that. And so now all of a sudden, everything, the Vim didn't work for this, it didn't work for that. I wasn't listening to them. So I said, okay, fine. I went to my supplier, I got a new liquid cream cleanser that has no bleach in it, and I just put it in the supply locker. I didn't say anything, I just put it there. If you need it, it's there. And then they're like, this stuff is crap. I don't like this stuff. I don't want to use this stuff. Where's the Vim with bleach? I was like, what the heck? I did what you asked. I did what you asked. Does it work? Yeah, it works, but it's not Vim with bleach. They didn't like that it was round instead of oval. It was just like crazy, stupid stuff. It was really, honestly, their fear of change. They were complaining about the product they had, but they didn't want it to change. It's sort of the same in and they didn't want to change because they're afraid of it, because they don't know how to use it, because it doesn't fit in the packaging right, because it's blah, 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 blah. People react to change more often negative than positive, or when change happens and everything's going great, then they expect something wrong, something bad to happen. Like they're waiting for the hammer to drop, as they say, or the other shoe to fall, or whatever. And they can do like really drastic things. Your employees will do really, really drastic things to sabotage whatever it is that you're trying to change. What you have to do is walk them through it step by step, be very slow and meticulous in the change, and give them an opportunity to understand that the change that you're making actually makes things better. So a woman fleeing domestic violence, what she's afraid of is she won't be able to pay her bills. That's a huge drastic thing. If I leave here, who's going to pay my bills? I don't know how to work. I haven't worked in 16 years, you know, constantly. I'll never make it on my own because I can't pay my own bills, because I can't work, because I've never had to work, or I was never allowed to work. And so they have this thing called a transition house, where the women go and stay in the transition house. And the first thing they do is just deal with the actual change. Learn to live without that constant source of negativity in their life. And then slowly, you know, they go to counseling and their kids get used to it. And then slowly from that, they learn to be able to go out into the community and not be afraid. And then slowly from that, they learn how to do a job interview, and then they get a job. So they don't go from the day they leave to the job. They go through this transition period where they learn the skills they need to get the job. You have to sort of do something like that with your employees. So when we're bringing on new clients into the Freedom Program and their employees don't like us, they don't like us, and they don't like us because they have control over their owner. I always know what's going to happen, and our owners are always surprised. The first thing we do is let them know that the change is occurring. And they're very slow and, they're very quick to judge it. Like, absolutely, this is not going to work. This is never going to work. This is a stupid system. Somebody told me, your systems are, what did they say? Not, what was the word that one person used? Like, useless, basically. She didn't say useless, but she meant useless. This is useless and I'm not going to do it. We're like, okay, all right, well, just so you know, this is what the program is. If you choose not to do it, there's nothing we can do. And then one day that employee needed something. So they didn't want to have to message Jobber, the admin portal in Jobber, but they needed something and their owner wasn't there to give it to them. They're like, hey, I need this. And our admin assistant is like, okay, let me get that for you. Gets it all done, sends it to them. They're like, thanks. Then the next time it's, hi, I hope you're doing well. Could I please get this? And then the next thing you know, they are doing everything we need them to do. They're putting in their notes, they're clocking in and clocking out, they're talking to our admin, but we have to do it step by step to create the trust. Change is something that your employees are going to have to go through over and over and over again as you grow. You're going to lose employees to change. You're going to lose people that you thought would be there for the entire duration. One day they're going to tell you, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not interested in continuing. because, well, it might be because of change, or it might be that they've not changed with you. They're not ready for the next level of growth. Just accept that the people in your life aren't going to accept change that well, and start to adapt to it so that you can get them ready for it. Number one, you have to be the person that loves change the most. I don't know if you sensed in me that I can handle change quite well, considering I have a different house, a different home at least once every 6 weeks. I love change. So learn to love change and understand that without change, nothing will happen. You'll just stay where you are. And then once you've learned to love change, pay attention to people in your life and how you can make it easier for them. Change is about acceptance. If you can start getting them ready for acceptance. So you're having a staff meeting, and your staff meetings are always an opportunity to lift people up. So you're having a staff meeting, you're like, okay, guys, in staff meetings, we start out with, we introduce ourselves, we introduce our new employees. Then we talk about celebrations. So-and-so had a baby. This really great thing happened for this employee. This is what happened for the business. That's exciting. And we're celebrating, hey, there were some obstacles. And you go through I usually like to pick 3 things that I really want to make sure my staff are working towards improving, not the whole list. You might have a list of 30 things that need to be improved, pick 3. If you give them 30, none will happen. But if you give them 3, 1 will happen. So 3 things that you need to overcome, and then ask for feedback. And here's what we're going to do to implement it. And then the happiness again. You start them out happy, you give them some sad, then you get them happy again. And what are you happy about is growth. We are so excited at the opportunities that are about to come our way. We are just so looking forward to the changes about to happen. Now, change is always hard, but I want you guys to know, with this change, here are the rewards coming. With this change, we're going to be able to offer more uniforms. We're going to be able to give you guys days off with pay, birthdays off with pay, or we're going to take everybody for dinner. If we get this big client, this is going to change our lives, and all of us are going out to party for the night. Whatever you have to do to make them feel excited about the changes coming their way, so that they're going in with a positive attitude. Never use the phrase, everybody hates change, but never use that phrase. Everybody's heard it, and it doesn't work. That's just saying, I know you hate change, and I don't care. You're going to deal with it anyway. I know change is hard, and I'd like to help you through it by, say this in your staff meeting. Hey guys, we've got a lot of new clients coming. I know change is hard, but I'd really like to help you get through this. The way that I've decided to help you get through this is I've created this awesome training portal. I'd like you all to go through the training portal, and then after that, let's have a discussion and let's hear how you think we can improve. Give them a refocus. So just know everybody hates change, and teach them to embrace it. And then know that you're going to have to do that over and over and over and over again. So you know that you're going to be continuously improving. I'm going to speed it up because we're past, and this is all refresher stuff. Continuously improving, getting your employees ready for change, finding ways to connect with your clients through quality assurance and quality control, and letting everybody else be a part of these systems is what's going to make your business stronger. So just always be focusing on that. And I now that we've had this deep discussion, I would really encourage you to go through the chapter and read it again. And everything that you've all been really paying attention. I could just feel it from you. I can see it from you, Brandon, that you've been absorbing what I'm talking about. Now, before you go about your life and back to your daily grind, you just take 10 minutes to go and read through the chapter. It's all going to set itself in your head. Now, you're not going to have to think about it. It's going to be a part of who you are, which is really exciting for me. If you go and read that chapter one more time before you go back to your life tonight, 10 years from now, you're going to remember the stuff we talked about, and you're going to remember me. And that is what fuels my soul, you know? So that being said, let's just do one quick exercise before we finish up for the day. I'm not going through this conclusion because we're way past and you guys are going to read the book anyway. Let's do it. What was really good about, what did you find to be great about what you learned today? What didn't you like about what you learned today? And what are you going to do to improve? Sounds good? This is an exercise I want you guys to learn to do with your teams in the future. So that's why we're doing it now. We're going to anchor it in. Yeah, let's start with you, Nolan.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I was eating earlier. That's why I had my microphone off and my camera mute. What I really liked about today is that number one, all of this stuff is actionable. You gave us probably like, 5 or 6 different scenarios where you're like, say exactly this to your staff or say exactly this to the client. So I love all of those actionable pieces of advice. I like when you asked us, like, what part of the quality assurance thing that you said, the blurb that you said was like, what part of that was actually directly the action of getting them to come on board with your quality assurance program. And specifically, one thing that jumped out at me there is that no problem's too small, or nothing is too small, right? Because that's a huge thing that's really important that you need to say to your clients. What I think could be improved, I don't know. I mean, I'm just not an authority on the fulfillment side of a cleaning business because my mom owns one and I don't. But from what I've heard, I mean, like, I just didn't have any complaints generally because I'm not an authority on that specific topic. But I also haven't read the chapter yet, so I'm going to go read that. And then in the future, I mean, I'll come back having read it and I'll contribute a little bit more. But yeah, like I said, I feel like I don't have anything else to say.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that feedback. I love that. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Awesome. How about Charlotte? Charlotte, are you still driving? You don't have to answer me. Just in 10 seconds, if you don't unmute, I'll know you are.
What I liked about tonight was when you said start delegating more things to other people. And when you said something about the SOPs, you said it's always time to do the SOPs. I liked that.
Always time to take care of the SOBs. Yeah, awesome. And improvement for the future. Is that what we said? Yeah.
Improvement would be like delegating.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you really found the golden nugget in today's meeting, the delegation source there. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a large team?
I have subcontractors.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah. Subcontractors. How would you delegate more to your subcontractors?
I don't like if I got more bids or more jobs. If they have time, they bid on the jobs. They get the jobs.
You're working too much. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm catching on now. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's really great. Have that rule for yourself. More delegation is going to, I say it so much, but really this is going to change your life. The things that you're learning here this week. And that's one thing. I think everything that we talk about here is life-changing stuff, and learning to delegate and delegating more will change your life. The beautiful thing that can happen is that once you're not wasting your thoughts on the menial things that somebody else can do for you, then your creative mind can wake up and start working on the things that are going to catapult you forward. And, I want everybody to understand that we all get stuck in that trap sometimes, and we need that little shake to wake us up and remind us that our job is to do the very best we can to grow this business so we can employ more people and put the food on the table for more people. Unemployment is a big issue these days, and we have the power to change the unemployment rate. We have the power to do that. That's a power I never realized I had. And it's a power that, I really love having that power. I love employing people. I love putting food on people's tables. I don't know if you guys saw that in one of my former employees put a thing on my Facebook post that said, you actually gave me you helped me buy my first car. I gave her a loan to put the deposit on her first car. It was a company perk that once our employees built trust with us, we would loan them money against their paycheck. And I loaned her $1,500 for the deposit on her first car. She paid it off over 6 weeks, 3 payments of $500. And to this day, it's been years since she worked for me, she still tells people how that affected her. That is such an honor. I want to do that more, which means I want to have more employees to do that for. Delegation is going to change your life. All right. How about Christine?
Hi.
Christine?
No, I'm here. I just couldn't figure out how to unmute my phone for some reason. So what were the questions again? We're talking about our favorite thing?
Yeah. What did you love? What could you change, and what can you improve? So this is really about you. It's not really about tonight's workshop. It's really about you.
Well, obviously I love the portion on quality assurance and quality control. I'm really enjoying over the last few days, just the breakdown of everything, the big picture view of all the steps. Because it really actually puts me in a place where I'm like, I've done a lot of this. Obviously, I have a lot more to do, but it just like, I'm giving myself a little pat on the back, like, wow, look at where I
Good.
was a year ago, Cool. There's nothing I didn't like. Your jokes are hilarious. You cracked me up a bunch today.
Good.
I had to stay muted because I kept just laughing out loud. And then what can I improve? Is that the other one?
Yeah. What do you want to improve in the future?
Everything. I don't ever want to
Everything.
stop improving. I'm really on this like mission to like get everything foundationally set and then take it to the next level and then take it to the next level. And then, like we keep talking about the first training portal and then making the 2.0 training portal. And, I'm tripping over myself a little bit because I've gotten really excited and I've kind of cleared my path to do this. And I'm just like, I want to get to the 2.0 and I haven't even built the 1.0 yet. But yeah.
Well, and that's what happens. Like I can see what's happening to you. I've learned to just accept it. I am 3/4 of the way making this business perfect. Like perfect. It's just going to be perfect. And all of a sudden, bang, new opportunity. The opportunities don't just come, guys. We attract the opportunities. It's from the stuff you're doing. And so then I'm like, oh, darn, well, I'm not going to get that done. But this opportunity, I cannot resist this opportunity. And that's why you're always living in this chaotic world, because you're always growing your business. That's why you need to get comfortable with chaos. And if the chaos stops, you have to make more chaos. Yeah.
Well, and I think I'm doing that by branching into commercial already. It's like I'm trying to get the residential systems down pat. And I'm just like probably 80% of the way there as far as like tweaking all the systems and making sure everything flows together. And I'm like, oh, let's just go over here and start transferring those into a whole other industry. Because why not?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about building the foundations. Why not?
That's why you put all your blood, sweat, and tears into residential, because this is a natural progression. You did a post-construction clean and you got the office cleaning from that. Post-construction is the next step from residential.
Yeah.
Some people start in post-construction, but if you're in residential, that's how you end up going to commercial usually, is because of post-construction. And vacation rental. And you had your first vacation rental this year too.
Yeah.
So you're moving up.
It's been great. I got my hand in all the pots now.
Yes, you're growing. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, thank you for today. It was great.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. I love that. Brandon, how about you?
Well, I mean, it was so much. It's hard for me to say. I mean, it answered some questions. I mean, like I don't have nobody to delegate nothing to just yet. But I do have a couple of questions. Like yesterday, you were saying, well, if you're gonna spend money on trying to generate leads and get stuff, that you should go ahead and join your program, I think, and learn how to do the marketing aspect.
Yeah, well, my buddy here, Nolan, he would be the best resource to help you understand that stuff and see where you need to go next. He can help you really look at your situation and find out what's the smartest next step for you. So if you like, I can ask him to send you his booking link and you can have a call with him.
Brandon, we talked before. I feel like it was about a month ago.
Yeah.
It
Awesome. So you're ready to get in another call and talk again?
Yeah, whenever he wants.
Sure. Well, maybe like next week, because I've already blocked my whole week out just for the rest of this.
Yeah.
Well, he can meet with you after one of these meetings if you like. The other thing is, if you're just sure about the email automation, if you just want to get started with that, I did put the link in the program, so you can just click on that and sign up. You get your first 2 weeks for free, and that gives us time to get you started, get you going. So it's up to you.
Well, what if I had it in the past and it was on pause or something? I'll have to start it all back over again.
Yeah, I better have a conversation with you. Let me message you on Facebook and we'll see if we can sort through it.
Yeah, because it's been like, I don't know. Yeah, it's been a while, but Like
Okay.
speaking of chaos, I've been in a bunch of chaos these last couple of months, but now I have a clear path
I
out of
think,
the chaos.
yeah, I think that we could bring it over. I think that what I'd like to do, I think I'd like to have a meeting with you and my tech guy and talk about, we can just bring it over. We have, like, the content wouldn't be relevant anymore, especially if it's been a while, because everything that changes with Google and the rules, we would have to run
Right.
all that content through, but we can bring all your leads over and we can retarget them as well as give you new leads. And we could give you fresh content that is already optimized for SEO, and it's not going to get you marked as spam. And we could just bring over the leads you have, bring over your domain, everything, start a whole new targeting campaign, and get it done for you. We could have,
Okay.
like, BJ can have it done within 24 hours.
Yeah, that guy's good.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
Yeah.
Do you
Wow.
know, when BJ first started working with me, BJ is my longest standing employee in the online program. And when BJ started working with me, like almost 5 years ago, he would take 3 to 5 days to set up an account. And now he gets them done in 4 hours or less. It's just crazy. Like, he's just excelled amazingly. He's a great guy. I'll message you on Facebook, Brandon, and see if we can sort out something for a day when BJ's working.
Okay, that'll be fine. I mean, because I think at this point, before I can implement a lot of this other stuff, I'm gonna have to set up an employee attraction and the marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and then at least I have those two legs to stand on.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to tomorrow, I'm going to take a portion of the day to break down our programs for you guys. I'm sure that you have some curiosity now. You've been hearing everybody talk. And so I'm going to give you guys a quick breakdown of what the foundations is, what the master plan is, and what the freedom is. And to tell you the truth, we're offering a huge discount on those programs for anybody that wants them in the side of this virtual event. So let me put that into the calendar for tomorrow, and you guys will get the information there. Does that sound like a fair compromise?
That's a fair compromise.
Okay, I can do that. I'll get my girl to make up a slideshow for me. Awesome. Okay, so did we get through the what did you love? What do you need to change? And what can you improve on? What do you love? What do you like? What you're doing is you're focusing on your vision of your business and you from the things you learned today. What do you love? What is not so great? And what do you see for the future?
I could see growing in the future, like maybe the next 90 days being at where I want to be, of course, along with you and Nolan's help, since Nolan's the man and not the myth. And
Yeah, the man and not the myth. Yeah,
yeah, but
Nolan has a weekly call on Thursdays for marketing, marketing mastery.
That's
Marketing
right.
mastery.
yeah,
It's boring for some people, but I like it.
I mean, I did learn that not being able to have someone to go to, like when you're having problems and it's just you, just having this little group time together, it showed me a lot, that I need someone that knows a little more than I do to help me to get to
Yeah.
where I want to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you, Brandon. I'm really glad that you're here. You're right. You and I have gotten to know each other over social media, and it's so nice to spend this time with you here to get to know you better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for the next 6 months to grow with some people I can trust. I mean, it's so much stuff out there. Like you were talking about AI earlier. Well, they got these AIs that you can plug into your lead generation and they make automatic calls, or it's another AI that can help you to send 20,000 emails out a month. And I'm like, let me ask somebody that knows a little more than me about this before I spend a dime.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is that there's also AI that's blocking the AI, So the frenzy is kind of crazy right now, and I think that you need to be really knowledgeable before you go too far into it. Like, you need to take the time to learn it. So, and that's what most of my clients have me for. They depend on me to go learn these things and report back. So that's what I'm doing right now, is just learning about AI and reporting back to my people. And I actually just partnered with an AI program. One of my elite clients actually joined up with them, and we'll see how it goes. So I actually have a partner in AI that I trust, and now I'm just learning about it. I've worked with these people for a long time before they started offering AI to cleaning business owners. They offer it out there for other owners, but they put my cleaning business through their pilot program about a year and a half ago. No, it would be a year ago in December, just before I sold the business. It was in this AI pilot program. And then I sold the business and forgot about it. And they came to me probably about 3 weeks ago now, and said, well, I ran into them at Tony Robbins first. They told me what they were doing. And then 3 weeks ago, they said, we're ready to take on cleaning business owners. Do you have anybody you want to 10x their stuff? And I'm like, yep. I've got some people, and those people are doing amazing. So so I'm learning all that, and I'll report it back to my clients. And I would just say, don't spend money on AI lead generation until you've taken some education. So like I said, grab a free workshop, just get your head wrapped around it a little before you start paying people. The thing about paying people, you should pay people to do things for you if you don't know how, but you should have the foundational knowledge to be able to lead them or see when they're making a mistake.
That's exactly right.
If you don't, thank you. If you don't know enough to see when somebody's doing it wrong, then you're never going to be able to make an informed decision.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, I think that we should get into a call and talk and see where you're at and see how we can make it work for you. I see you going places. Like, I'd love to see you set your goal at 10K a month in 6 months. I really would. But you could start with 3 to 5 contracts in 3 months, or you can go for 10K in 6 months. It's completely up to you.
Okay.
You can do nothing, but I don't ever suggest doing nothing.
Oh no, I'm gonna do something.
Yeah.
I
Carrie,
know
could
you
you
are.
imagine someone gets to the end of this 2.5 hours and you're like, what did you feel? You're good about your business. What can you improve? What do you see in the future? And someone just goes, well, Carrie, I kind of feel like doing nothing. I don't see anything in my future. Like, there's no way we could get all the way through this. Maybe if they turn their brain off, but no.
Well, it could happen though. Like, who knows? There are some people out there with a pretty terrible mindset, but I don't think they're in this room. But we do have one person left, so we should find out. We should find out what Josh's input is. Josh, what is it that you love about what's happening now? What is it that you'd like to, or what is it that's not so great about what's happening now? And what do you want to improve in the future? It's a complicated question.
So what I love now is meeting new people, getting out. I feel like since I've started my own business that I got a little bit more. I mean, I was always sociable, but now I don't feel as bad going to do walkthroughs and talking to customers.
Nice.
What I don't like is sometimes I don't get paid on time.
Yes.
Because that's one of the things that I do struggle with is I know you preached and preached and preached about asking for deposits. I have not yet asked for a deposit because I was always nervous about it. If they would actually take me on with me being a new owner. If I'm still there's things I'm still learning. And then what was the third thing you said?
What do you want to do to improve in the future? I think you just said it, but.
Oh yeah, I want to be able to grow. I'd like to. What I would eventually like to do is quit all my 85 jobs that I have and focus 100% on my cleaning business and being more of a CEO than doing the work and being able to just, be in the office and doing all the back of the scenes kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's my ultimate goal. I don't know if I know it's achievable. It's just going to take some time. And then what was the third thing you said?
What do you want to do to improve in the future? I think you just said it, but.
I know it's going to take some time. I know it's achievable. It's just going to take some time. And I always told myself when I started that I was going to start small and just roll from there.
Yeah, I love those goals, and I totally think you're on your way. Yeah, I think you're within reach. What kind of goals do you have? Are you looking for like $10,000 a month in increased revenue, or
Yeah,
$500,000 a
that's
year?
what I would like. Yeah, that's what I would like to do.
What would 500,000 a year do? Do you
That
think
would
that
be
you could?
that would be even better.
Yeah, could you handle that? Do you think?
Yeah, if I had the proper people to, you know, to staff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Like we've had owners come in to our master plan and get to 500,000 in 6 months. Jamie was one of the ones that I always refer to because he had nothing. He had no website. He had no employees. He had no cleaning experience, nothing. And he came to one of these workshops. And in the workshop, he signed up for the master plan. And then 3 weeks later, he lost his job. And he came to the meeting and he said, I have terrible news. I said, well, what is it? And he said, I lost my job. And I said, that's awesome. I'm so excited for you. And he's like, what? I said, well, now you don't have to choose. You don't have to get to a point where you're like, should I leave my job or not? Because there is this place where you're so comfortable in your job and you're so used to somebody else. This paycheck comes and it's so hard to let go of it that you could actually hold yourself back. And I've witnessed people doing that. So he didn't have to do that. And then he just got busy. Same thing. Him losing his job is the same thing as me using my rent to pay for my program, for my learning. It's the same thing. You now have no choice. It's called burning the boats. That's what they say. That's how they refer to it in the coaching world, burning the boats. And that was because of the battle of, I don't want to.
It's Christopher Columbus.
Was it where they got to shore and then they burned the boat so that they had no choice but to take the island? Napoleon.
Napoleon is the Napoleonic Wars.
It was Napoleon. And I was going to say the French Revolution. Is that what it is? I don't know much of. I'm showing you guys about the stuff I don't know now.
Yeah.
I think so. It was because they said that the only way for them to win was to burn the boats, and so they won.
Yeah, because they had no retreat. They could not retreat. Yeah, so burn the boats, and that's what he was doing. Jamie had no choice. Somebody else burned the boats for him. I burned the boats myself. I burn the boats all the time, guys. Like, I think that if people had any opportunity to be Peter and see how many times I burn the boats, they would be absolutely like mystified by it. It's a scary thing every time, but every time I turn out on the successful end of it, you know? So burning the boats. Yeah. It's amazing. I love it. So thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. Oh, somebody said a comment here.
I do have one more thing I'd like to say.
Yes, please.
I just wanted to let Brandon know about the email automation. I'm currently in that program, and he will get blown away by the amount of emails that he would receive. I haven't gotten any now that I've like stepped away and came back. But I know that BJ just got done setting me up, and I do have a meeting with Peter tomorrow at 10 a.m. to go over how to work the go high level. But when I first initially signed up back in like June and July, the emails were just incredible that I received, and you're gonna get some denials, but you'll also get a lot that want to have visits with you, and so it is a really good program. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Thank you, Josh. That helps, right? To hear from somebody else I really appreciate that, because I can say it till I'm blue in the face, but when you hear it from another program member, it makes more sense. Yeah. Yeah. The thing about the email automation is it's a start. It is definitely not all to do, but getting a start, getting yourself in the door, it's that one little change that you can make that will start a ripple effect that's going to grow your business. So that's what we all have to do. Whenever you feel
I didn't believe it at first, because I'm like, they're from Canada. How are they going to get me new leads when I'm in Wisconsin, and it happens. I'm telling you, it happens.
I love that. I didn't know people thought that. They're from Canada. How will they? Imagine what people think now. I don't know where I'm from now. I couldn't tell you. It's funny. I've been meeting with experts in the industry for the next level for me, and they all say that. Where are you from? I'm like, well, all of my belongings live in British Columbia, but I stay at my mom's in Alberta, but I'm not going back there until sometime next year, so I don't know where I live.
Or she lives on an airplane.
Yeah. Or cruise ships. We're going on a cruise ship next. We used a cruise ship to get here. We're using a cruise ship to get to Italy. So that's nice because you get your accommodations and your food while you're traveling. So it actually saves you money. If you're the type of person who's like traveling the world the way we are, cruise ship will actually save you money and annoying, plus you get entertainment for free too. This cruise ship we're going on has one of those 4D theaters where you sit in the chair and you feel like you're actually in the ride. It has one of those. So we'll see how that goes. So. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. It's been a Monday, as I said, and I have a few things still to take care of. So thank you so much. Your only homework is don't forget just to read that chapter before you call it a night, to refresh and anchor everything that we talked about tonight. And then I'll see you tomorrow. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be less brain work and more interacting tomorrow. So it's not going to be overwhelming the way the first 3 days have. We're going to have some fun tomorrow.
Cool. And that's chapter 6, right, Carrie?
Chapter 6, yeah. And all you have to do is go into your portal and look at day 3, and the chapter is in there for you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, awesome. See you guys. Have a great night.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody. Good night.
You know what? Brandon's on his way to getting the free foundations program.
Sweet.
I forgot. He's got only 2 days left, and if he does, he gets the foundations program for free. Good for him. That's awesome. He needs it. So that's great. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Good night.